step I take, I move my truth. Every time they tell me stop, I use every comment, hate that makes my fuel. Gather up my energy and boom, I hear them talking, saying the way that I move is so reckless. That is a part of my mind I've been blessed with, giving my blood so I am relentless.
Welcome to the Keep Hammering Collective. I'm here with John and Jenn Rivet, and this is awesome.
We're so excited to be here.
Finally.
When you were in bear camp and you're like, when are you guys going to Oregon again? Like, I don't know. Do y'all come do a podcast? Like, yeah.
And then, oh, by the way, also, could you do a little cooking?
Yeah.
It worked out perfect, though.
And it was like not a little cooking. I mean, you guys
Just got done.
Just this morning, the lift, run, shoot weekend, and Jen prepared with help from you and your daughter.
A little bit from me, mostly from Julia.
Well,
I'm
you had
more
to
public
go
relations.
You had to run errands. You had to go get supplies.
I did the
my
grocery
go-to.
store runs.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah.
The grocery store runs hard.
Especially when that's not your forte.
Yeah, and you're trying to hurry.
Yeah.
And
It's
look
a
for
store
stuff.
you don't know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, so we had the lift, run, shoot weekend. It's just finished today, and Jen prepared all the meals for each day. Just incredible food too. I can't believe how much work that is.
Wasn't it a good crowd?
Oh,
Like you just never know who you're going to get, right? But this was an amazing crowd. They were all beasts. They were all tough.
they were. And I've never done anything like this. This was like a kind of a VIP type thing. So it was actually quite a lot of money to participate.
Yeah.
And I think that probably made a difference, because if you're going to spend that much money, you're going to want to be here.
You're going to be serious about what
You're
you're
going to be
doing.
serious.
Yeah.
You care.
Yeah, you're not going around the corner smoking cigarettes and having a beer.
No. And it's every person. I didn't hear, so we started Friday, Saturday, today, Sunday. I didn't hear one negative word for 3 days.
Nothing.
When I saw their workout, it's like, holy mac.
It was hard.
Eric and Nick were trying to kill them.
Those guys were hurting.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a challenging workout.
I think my comment was they paid to come here to get tortured.
They paid to hurt.
Man.
I'm like, I love you, but I don't know if I'd do that much. That was
And
intense.
ran 10K on the mountain today.
I know.
Yeah.
I have, some guys that stand out. Everybody is like just great people, but the guy from Australia, he's so hilarious. Then there's another guy from San Francisco, just like smiling nonstop the whole time. But everybody just so positive, supportive, listening to what people said, appreciating the meals.
Yeah.
Just enjoying
Such a cool
all of
event,
it.
though, to have access to your people. I mean, to have
man.
Wayne and his guys on the bows. And
Yes.
your trainers, like everything you do, they got to experience it.
Right. Then the mountain today.
Whole thing,
And shooting at Wayne's and like the bow rack and
Yeah.
I mean, I kept out quizzing people, because I want people to be happy, but if something we could do better, I want to know that too. So I was like, have you ever been anything like this? How does it compare? I never heard anything.
Yeah.
Anything that they were disappointed in or was hoping it was this way and it was this way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How was it to do the classes 4 times over for different groups? Just to try to repeat yourself, or
I did.
You didn't probably.
Mine were all new. It was like everybody got a new one.
Wayne's like, did I tell this group or did I tell that last group? But
Yeah.
I watched some of his and it was really good, man. I learned a lot. I'd sit in for a little bit
Really?
while the Traegers are rolling and between filling pellets, and I learned a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being selfish, I didn't get to hear what they said.
Yeah.
Like I would have liked to hear what Easton said and what Hoyt said and what Wayne said and what Go Hunt said. So I missed out, but
Cool to have some of the best from all these fields.
Yes.
All at one place.
Yeah, that's the whole goal. But I mean, Wayne is so passionate about what he does.
He is.
He's such
He
a
takes
hard
it
worker.
So serious. Like,
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love it.
Always. And to see this type of excitement for archery in this community is, there's pictures over there of us, 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago. And you'd never think that it'd ever turn into something like this.
Yeah.
So,
No offense to any other bow shop, but the first thing he does when we get there with our bows, no matter who set him up, he cuts everything off. He just starts over from scratch, from the beginning, and gets it all right. And man, the bow shoots so good after that. It's incredible. My group tightens up. It's so smooth.
Yeah. And he's just like, the way he can talk to people, now they've been seeing it on the show, but he's just such a good teacher.
Yeah, he's such a good teacher. And you know, he's got his ways that he likes to do it.
Yeah.
But if you've got your own little quirk or something like Jenn, there's a certain way she has to do it because of her injuries and stuff. He's like, you know what? That works for you. Keep doing it that way. Like, don't change to what I wanted you to do. That works for you. Just keep doing it.
Well, he's changed then because he used to tell me, like, because I always put my thumb behind my neck.
Yeah.
Still, it's just like what I've done since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And for years, he was trying to get me to change my grip and do this. And I'm like, finally, I'm like, dude, I'm not going to change. Yeah. So can we just skip to the next part?
Yeah. The first time we came down when he set up my first bow, and I was shooting there at the shop, and he's like, you know, teaching me how to, because I didn't know. I mean, it was kind of like you watch a little bit, but I had just started archery. And he's like, well, you got to hold like this, draw like this, and do all the steps. And I was like, I do my same little, I kind of curve my hand around.
Yeah.
And he's like, why do you do that? I'm like, well, I have an earring. Well, you don't need to wear an earring when you're hunting. I'm like, I realize that, but sometimes you do.
Right.
And then how come this? Well, I always have a ball cap, and I always have like I wear glasses now. So it's kind of that tweaking on how you're comfortable and somewhere where I can remember where to get it. And he tried getting me to change it, and my arrows would go all over, and I'd tweak it a little bit and try to go back to it. And then he's like, I'd do it a couple, and I was grouping pretty decent, if I remember right, which was pretty remarkable at the time. And he's like, okay, I guess we'll just leave it. It's working. We should just leave it. And so we're still at the same spot.
Yeah.
Like 7 years later.
You were shooting good today, grouping good. Your form looks great for not having shot for quite a while.
Since 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's. I mean, I'm glad you guys got a chance to break away and do something fun because you've been working so hard.
We just took like half an hour after we were cleaning up. Then we sat down and visited with everybody for a little bit because we didn't have much of a chance. And then he went and walked by with his bow, and I was like, oh, I better go shoot it. It's been a while.
Ethan was out there shooting too, and he said he'd be ready for you next year. He's going to beat you next year. As you get older, he says he's
a better shot than me. It's all there is to it.
He's a good shooter.
Yeah, I mean, he's full scholarship archery.
Yeah, 4-year scholarship for archery.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's better. It's just like sometimes, you know, so we think about it for a few days, and then there's all this pressure, and then people are around. And so he's telling me he shot in front of 2,000 people for like a gold medal in some tournament and won. So, I mean, he can do it, but it's still different, you know, and shooting at a 3D elk instead of, they probably usually shoot paper targets, you know, things like that. But yeah, I mean, you know, people would say I'm too competitive. I love competition.
It's fun. When we shot the other night, that was cool.
And he's such a good kid too, but it's not just him, it's everybody.
Yeah. But it's different when you're shooting around your peers or people that, you know, you've learned stuff from, or like even with Wayne, how he teaches and stuff, and then watching you, it's just different. It's a different atmosphere than when you're just shooting at home in your backyard and nobody can critique every little screw up that you do. It's kind of like you can just go out there. That's kind of my favorite. When
you guys are in bear camp, you're always competing against each other, you and Kip and whoever else is there.
Yeah. So I want to back up real quick and just, you know, introduce you guys. You guys are outfitters in Alberta.
Yep.
I started hunting with you in 2013, but you guys and people who have watched Bush Dragons, the latest bear hunting film, the Rivets, that's where we're at. And you guys have been doing it for decades. So explain where you started and where you're at now.
Well, I'm going to be 54 next month at the end of August.
You're old.
And I'm getting there. I'm catching up to you. And I started guiding when I was 18. You got to be 18 to hold a guide's license in Alberta. So as soon as I turned 18, boom, got that license. Back then it was tough too. You had to write a test, and the test covered everything, covered horseback, like even something you weren't going to be doing. You had to pass that too. So
this fall will
be 36 years.
36 years.
Yep. We're telling Rihanna and Logan that, and they're like, that's how old we are.
I know.
I started guiding when you were born.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible?
We used to always be the youngest people in the group, and now a lot of times we're the oldest, except around you or Jill.
It happens, right?
It does. But we get better when we get older too.
Yeah.
You get a little more, we get wiser.
You get more wisdom.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, my body's older, but hopefully I've matured. And that's, And so
we don't care so much about little things anymore.
No.
Right? The little things like, screw it, who cares?
Yeah.
Exactly. No.
So after I met him, when I was younger, I hunted a tiny bit. Basically, with my stepdad, it wasn't so much girls really hunted. I could go hunt chickens and stuff like that, did lots of fishing. But I spent a lot of time on the farm with my grandpa, which was he had a dairy farm. Plus, we did trapping, logging, all that stuff. So everything that a little girl's not supposed to do, I got to do with my grandpa. So shoot guns, drive tractors, 4 wheels, whatever. DC, I don't know, it was a 4, something like that. Big cats, all that different stuff.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I got a little bit of my background, but I've always been outdoors. Mm-hmm. We went on a holiday, it was camping and fishing. We never went to no big malls. We never went to Disneyland, none of that. It was always,
to play hockey too, but your dad said you
he wouldn't let me. He said they didn't have cups for girls yet. And I'm like, I think I saw it. But anyways.
Yeah.
And then after I met him, started hunting more big, I started hunting big game. Mm-hmm. So let me think, 30, shit, I'm going to
When I met her, I hit the jackpot. I knew it too. Like I drove by, we had moved up where she lives, where we
don't have to talk about that stuff. That's that's forever ago.
I seen her standing in the front yard. It's up in the bush country. Like there's.
Was it slow motion, like hair blowing in the wind?
I just knew that was her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I found out she could flesh a hide. She could skin a deer. It's like, yeah, that's the one for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and
she was hot too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Still pretty hot.
Yeah. Long time ago. Yeah.
Well, like, maybe it's not hot. Maybe it's a distinguished, or beauty. Just beautiful.
Yeah.
Natural beauty. How about that? That's
rugged.
That sounds respectful.
Yeah.
Not rugged.
Yeah.
We're rugged. Guys can be rugged.
I'm thinking, what do you wear when you go here and there? I'm like, trying a bunch of stuff. And I was telling Lisa, I'm like, ball cap, t-shirt, sneakers. This is 99% of my life, but
it's so much fun now that the kids are all grown up. And I mean, when the kids were little, Jen was home raising them. She wasn't going to let somebody else raise her kids.
Yeah.
So I was guiding by myself then. It sucked to be alone for a month or 2 or 3 without her and the kids a lot of times.
Yeah.
I'd get home sometimes, the kids didn't recognize me. They're like,
So probably about 32-ish years ago, I got my guide's license and started doing that. But I never started guiding because we started family. I mean, when the youngest one got older, I'd go out a little bit and I'd do cooking and guide a little bit. But it was kind of like my kids were first. That was my purpose. And then as they got older, then of course I jumped into it more. I mean, they're self-sufficient teenagers, I think. That was scary. And then the turning point was as they all got older and old enough to guide and work with us, they all started working with us. So it's really cool.
Yeah. And now you're still out there working on the bears, still cooking, but you're one of the first ones out there to start skinning.
Oh, yeah. I love skinning.
It's nice with Julia doing a lot of the cooking now. Jen can be. I mean, she used to do it all. She did the guiding and the cooking and skinning.
That used to be tough, especially for moose hunts. You'd be up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd get up, make breakfast, make lunches, get all the gear together. Then you head out and you guide until like lunchtime. Then you come back, make lunch. Then you're out. And it was just like, it's exhausting.
I love skinning a bear with her.
But it was fun.
The 3 of us together, or when you and I and Roy skinned grizzly bear and black, a couple grizzlies.
Goes fast.
Yeah. Get a few people that know what they're doing. It's fast and it's nice.
But it's a different thing when you're skinning, like that animal that you harvested.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. You're skinning it. You're talking about the hunt. You're talking about...
There's so much camaraderie when we're skinning an animal. Like, with you, we got to have some music on. We got to have some Luke Bryan or something.
No, it's fun. It's fun.
But when you're out in the field, I mean, you're whispering a little bit, talking about what's happening. But it's like, at least when you're skinning and butchering stuff down, it's like you can talk about everything and you can catch up on everything. Yep. It's kind of that, I don't know. It's more than camaraderie. It's...
like fellowship.
Yeah.
You're taking off chunks of meat. You're taking off back straps and quarters.
Just the act of what we're doing is powerful.
Yeah.
You know, it's an animal that we killed on the hunt and now we're taking care of. So just that elevates anything else we're doing to a higher level.
Yeah.
And then if the conversation just feels a little richer, a little more meaningful because of what we're all working on.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Yeah.
It takes you back to your roots, your traditions, your like where you come from.
Cool too when you're using knives from people Montana knives and things like that. You're using everything fits in so good.
There's a couple, thinking of that. There's a couple times when we had Rogan up there the first time. Remember, I can't remember who took the picture, but
Rogan hunted bears.
Yeah, I know. But remember when he was skinning out we were skinning out the bear right by the other house there in Swan Hills.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that picture's there, and that was a memorable time. But then also me, you, and Roy having Luke in the middle of nowhere, Alaska, having Luke Bryan playing on the phone while we're skinning out a big brown bear. It's like that's like once in a lifetime.
I'm glad you took me to Alaska. I got to meet Roy.
Yeah. I'm glad you got to go too. So, in your shirt, tell me about your shirt. I like that. Arise, kill, eat, and then Acts 10:13.
Yep.
Do you know what? Do you know exactly what that one is?
It's they're talking about what was kosher to eat and what was allowed to eat in the Jewish culture and stuff. And at this point, they're like, just Peter. They was talking to Peter, and it's like, Peter, arise, kill, and eat. Like, just go eat something.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not.
But it's really
bad
fitting
out there that you can eat.
Yeah, it's really fitting. I mean, that's what you do, right? If look back in history, you couldn't go to Costco or department store. It's like if you didn't get up, go do it, go hunt it, and get something, you weren't eating.
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
Right.
Unless you had, some rich king or something that had his little.
Yeah, we're here because our ancestors hunted.
Yeah. No, I like that.
Yeah, and our ancestors both that's tradition on both sides.
So the
trapping,
people that
hunting.
used to message us and like, you guys are going to go to hell because you're killing bears. Like, nope.
No, pretty sure the opposite.
Going to kill and eat.
Yeah.
And I do like that you got the arise, kill, eat, then the bear skull, because so many people, like that comment might suggest, but so many people don't even think about eating bear for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It's got such a bad rap over time. And then I don't know who was saying it. Maybe Kip. Kip comes up with a lot of facts or history or pseudo facts, but he said that I think the settlers out here would kill deer for hides and bear for meat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then somewhere along the way it changed, and then bear were like supposed to not be good meat for some reason.
I think it had something to do with Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Because it
might be.
Like with all that organization, I hate saying the name of it, but it all became where animals were cartooned and they were like friendly and they had personalities and they had mummies and daddies and it was one great big happy kosher family that everybody got along in the woods. Mm-hmm. It's all a lie. It's all a lie. So when you saw Winnie the Pooh, oh, he's so cute, you can't hurt him. Well, he's on the earth, so we can use him. However, you're going to, eat off of it or whatever, whether it's a deer, elk, whatever.
When it comes to in Canada with outfitting, with people not eating bear, I think it just came down to some lazy outfitters, honestly.
Yeah.
That didn't want to deal with it, didn't want to mess with it. They just wanted to skin it and discard it. And
it's definitely a lot less work.
Yeah.
It's a lot less work, but it's just like, are you okay?
Yeah.
And so I think to justify that you're being, quote, lazy, you have to say that the meat's not good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's how...
In our camp, Jen cooks it on Friday nights at bear camp. So it's our land and lakes deal where she makes walleye usually and...
Bear ham, smoked bear ham.
And a bear backstrap into a stir fry. Gets everybody hooked on bear. And like, this is bear. We're taking it all home.
Right.
Like, hold that bear. We're taking it all.
Well, because there's a fallacy because they'd say, well, it's an omnivore, right? The bear eats pretty much everything. He's like a vacuum cleaner wherever he goes. And they say, well, he can carry parasites. Well, that's true, but so can domestic pigs, chickens, all of that.
There's a lot of parasites there.
And so they're like, oh, well, you don't have to eat it. And like in the regulations in Alberta, you do not have to keep the meat of a black bear.
Cougar and black bear, you can
because they can carry those parasites. But I mean, for the amount of
you wouldn't eat chicken rare and you wouldn't eat pork rare.
No.
It's no different.
Same thing.
The same thing.
Yeah. I just think I really love how we've over this time. Well, you guys have probably always, but since 2013, that's been like, sometimes we talk about it more than other times, but it's always been like eating bear is always a thing, And originally, I remember up there, we had a pretty good group in the tent up there, and we're talking about bear stir fry and how good it was, and it's just one example of an incredible meal you make with bear meat, and that bear stir fry was just kind of a conversation piece. But
now that we've showed people that it's delicious to eat, we have more hunters because of it that come hunt with us. We used to have guys came for moose, they came for deer. They're like, man, I'd love to go shoot a bear with you, but I won't eat it, so I'm not going to shoot something I don't eat. So by showing them that it's delicious to eat, we have more hunters because of it.
I mean, it's a dark, super dark, rich meat. And this is one of my pet peeves because we get people come up and they're like, they look at the bear or they think they know what a bear is going to be like. And like, oh, it's just like a hog, just like pig, just like that. The meat is exactly the same. I'm like, and they try to sound knowledgeable. And it's like, well, I guess you've never skinned out a bear, looked at the meat. The meat is very different. I mean, the coloration is different. You can cut it the same, of course, but even it cooks totally different. The grain that is like in a lot of it, especially an old bear that we want to take out a mature one, the grain of the meat is like a lot denser. It's kind of like moose almost.
Yeah. What do you compare it to the most now for meat? Like now that you've cooked a lot of briskets.
Okay, so yesterday we had brisket for dinner, and I was telling guys as they went by, I'm like, that coarse grain of the tissue or the fibers of the meat, that's what most of the bear is. Of course, there's some tenderer pieces. Is that a right word? But it's that coarse grain. It's a thick, heavy grain. So you got to cook it properly.
Right.
It'd be just like cooking, anything else. You have to know a technique in order to make it chewable and tasty.
I bet, but when you do, maybe because it's so rich, the taste is amazing when you know what you're doing to prepare it. It can be just, the best meat you've ever had in some instances.
It's funny because especially bear, I find that it is richer because when you eat it, you tell people you feel better when you eat wild game and they're like, it's all in your head. Yeah. But it's absolute truth. Yeah. Like pretty much since we've been together, 90 to 95% of our diet is always wild game or fresh caught fish. We go catch walleye or whatever, grouse, elk, deer, moose, whatever we can get. And I mean, we buy some chicken, but I mean, other than that, like when I eat beef now, I don't eat a lot of it because it's really super fatty. Yeah, like definitely. Eating brisket, it was like, this is a different ball game for me.
We're so used to lean meat. Like, we're going to the UFC with you and Joe or something and eating steaks after a 22-ounce ribeye or something.
You really got to pace yourself.
It's like, that's hard to digest.
It's definitely different.
It's different because the fat content for me, anyways. So if I eat it too late, then it's like, whoa, this is intense. But wild game, you can eat an elk steak at midnight and you feel great the next day.
Yeah. Well, I was interested. I mean, this journey you've been on as an outfitters and, obviously raising a family. How has it been to get where you're at now? Because where you're at now, it feels like to me, I don't want to say everybody knows you, but it feels like everybody knows you, and knows of you and knows of the... I feel
like in the bear world, we're known well. Like if you want to go somewhere and succeed on bears, come to our place.
Yeah, that. How does that feel?
Feels good. It's we work hard at it. Like we don't just do it half-assed. We do it.
Well, everything you do,
you're full speed. I mean, we're baiting as many baits as we can run. We'll go through 120,000 pounds of bait every year. You could do it easier and less work, but you wouldn't have the success that we have.
Yeah, but you're supposed to go all in. Like Integris, this is your livelihood. This is what you represent. Like, I mean, it's more than just, and I mean, not just the hunt, just everything that we do in camp. I like it to be more, if I can call it more of a family style. Like, we're not big on, and we haven't been for years, is like anybody that's a big drinker or, really loud mouth or really vulgar, all of that stuff. It's just like, it kind of takes away from the novelty of camp. So I really like that, where it's just close-knit. You can go and you can, get to know people. And that's why we do it. I've kind of pushed for that over the years. It's just like, I want to get to know these people that are coming in. Yeah. Like you're having a stranger in your home.
Right.
So it's kind of like you want to get to know this person a little bit, see what they're about. Nowadays, it's great because between friends of friends, between different trade shows and stuff, usually there's somebody in the circle that, hey, I know this guy, or this guy's great, or I hunted with him, or, my outfitter had him a couple of years ago. So that's fantastic.
It's so different now than like when I was a kid. I remember being around lodges and outfitters around my dad and stuff, and the hunters that were coming from other countries, they were coming and they were drinking a lot. I mean, they were partying.
It was pretty rough.
And it's a different crowd now. Like it's more, especially being around you, is that fit crowd that's keeping healthy and exercising and taking care of their body, taking care of their temple.
Yeah.
So we don't get that much drinking anymore. It's pretty rare.
Yeah. That's, so, I mean, I would think just in general, if you guys wanted to, which a lot of it's a hard way to make a living, but I could see a lot of outfitters going, God, I could have double the hunters in here and make double the money. Yeah. Because you have access to so many baits, but as you've learned over the years, sometimes the camera doesn't work or whatever. Sometimes a bear moves through and doesn't come back. Sometimes different things. So you have to have a large inventory of baits and hunt just the best ones. Whereas many outfitters would just be like, put somebody every bait, and they're making whatever thousands of dollars.
I've heard of guys that have hunted with us that have been elsewhere before, which is great because if they've gone somewhere else and then they come with us, they know the difference. Yeah, they've been out east where they're put on a school bus and they're dropped off 20, 30 guys every mile. They're dropping somebody off at each bait,
5-gallon bucket of bait, and they sit there.
And there might only be one bear there, and the guy goes back to the outfitter that night and didn't shoot, and he says, I saw one. The guy says, well, that was your bear. You should have shot him.
Yeah,
but there's the thing, right?
4 foot.
Quality, not quantity. Because we used to do quantity. And I guess financially wise, it would probably be smarter to a bit more. But the quality is like when you have a smaller group, you can connect more. You can actually work with them. Like we had Caleb up last spring. Yeah.
Caleb Brewer.
Yeah. So
he calls them bionic legs.
Yeah, bionic legs. And it was just cool to see him like climbing up the stand for the first time and navigating like the places that guy walked. It's crazy.
With both prosthetic legs, he climbed the 15-foot ladder stand and went to the top by himself.
Wow.
And it would be like, and that was a busy week because we had eight 8 people in from Black Rifle, which was awesome. But if you had 20 people in, you can't connect.
Oh man,
you can't meet everybody. Like you remember their names hopefully, but it's like I want to interact. We want to know the people that are coming and kind of establish like, hey. And
you're more stressed out because you're like everybody wants to kill a bear, and they're always. To me, it's always like if somebody does kill one or see one and the other guy doesn't, then the other guy thinks, oh, you put him on a better spot or I'm in a shit spot or, so it's kind of stressful, I would think. Yeah. With that many people, everybody has all these big dreams about all they want to do is kill. Yeah.
Well, that's when it's nice when you have like a group, like when you and Kip come up, we have, your group together, or like the Black Rifle guys and gal, Amanda came up, and it was great because they all kind of knew each other and they're all like cheering for each other. And as soon as somebody got a bear, there was like, everybody was like, oh, I'll go help recover or drag out and skin and process and whatever. Mm-hmm. It's not like, well, oh, he got a bear, and that little attitude, which years ago we had because they weren't all of the same group. So it's nice to have like just a group of people.
Yeah. It's nice. We're going to keep it to 4 to 8 people per week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's fun when there's 8 because there's somebody killing every night. There's something happening. There's action, right? We're all getting into it, skinning and talking about the hunt and the guy's first bear or something, and he's telling stories and he's so excited. It's fun. It's fun every night to get back and see who got something and
tell the stories. The stories are pretty cool.
I know. Yeah. I know. And everybody has like, oh, this bear was this close to me, or this bear did this or did that, or ran up the tree, or everybody loves being close to bear. And that's what, to me, that's what sets apart your outfit from a lot of others. I haven't hunted with a lot of others, but I talked to a lot of guys who have. And, we talked, I listened to Dan Staten, his podcast, and he was up, I think the exact same time I was up in Alberta with you guys. Yeah. And his hunt was, if mine was a 10, his was a 0.
Wow.
Not seeing any bear for hours, seeing a squirrel, seeing one bear, and that's, sadly, there are outfits like that. And, I think that time, you can always say, well, there's fires, or I know the fires do affect it. But yeah, I mean, it's, I think you guys put in so much work and have such expansive land that you're going to find bear somewhere.
Yeah, we're baiting 5,000 square kilometers there. That's a lot of country.
And we want it to be an experience for the guys too, because we've heard other stories from different people that go all over and like, well, the hunting was great, but the food was shit.
Right.
Or the cook was this, or the transportation was this, or I was basically, they were expecting to sleep, whatever. And then there's other guys that like, well, the food was excellent, but the hunt was shit. We couldn't find a deer for the life of us. So it's kind of that balance. And that's why I think I treat it more like a family type setting, so it's more comfortable, and we're hoping everything's pretty good. So you can, you control the controllables.
Yeah.
And with nature and what the bears are doing, you just put in all your effort to make it as good as you can to make sure they're following the program as good as they can. We bait lots, we trim up everything, we set up as best we can, we find good spots, all that type of stuff when it comes to setting up that. You do your best, and then usually everything else plays out.
If you got a good area and you work really hard, you're going to succeed.
Yeah, there's a lot of bear up there.
There's a lot of bear.
And you guys hunt Crown land, which is for down here. It's public land.
Yeah.
But people don't get, when we mention public, they think there's going to be people everywhere. There's no people up there.
No, way less people than what we might be used to down here.
Yeah, I have guys that hunt a week with me for moose and not see a hunter, not see another person. They're like, where's the hunters? This is way up. There's not much people up here.
And especially archery.
Yeah.
There is a decent amount of archers in Alberta, but it's not like coming to the States where it's just like we were just at TAC last week by Salt Lake.
Yeah, you guys have bow hunters.
That was crazy. The intense amount of people. In Canada, you'll have a few.
We'll bow hunt southern Alberta with the kids for several weeks and not see a hunter. Not see another bow hunter. Now, when gun opens, there's some people, but still it's limited draw. So it takes 6 to 8 years to get drawn for a buck tag there. So and we can bow hunt those tags every year for 2 months.
And see,
beautiful.
That was the main reason why I wanted to start archery. It's because years ago I had messed up my shoulder. I dislocated my collarbone, so I couldn't pull a bow, and then finally healed that up. And they had switched it to where a lot of the zones, before you could hunt moose, any resident could hunt moose, archery full season. And then they changed a lot of zones where you can hunt archery for moose, But other than that, you have to put in a draw. And it was like, so I was only shooting rifle back then. So you had to wait like 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And I'm like, this is BS.
Right.
Because everybody else is hunting moose and killing moose, and I can't. And so I actually got pretty pissed off about it. I was like,
lest you hunt everything every year.
So pretty much everything during archery season you have an opportunity for.
It's not always the best dates, you know, like for the moose, they've got it pretty much planned where the bow season ends, the general bow season, and then it gets into gun draws, which takes 4, 5, 6 years to get.
Depending on which zone you're doing it in.
It's when the rut's on. So.
But when you have your bow, you can sneak out and actually get out there, which is nice. That was my main reason.
And then you killed a moose with your bow?
I killed 2.
2, okay.
2, yeah. First one at 27 yards, he called it in. I was shaking like I felt like you were going to have a heart attack because it's so big. And I've seen it before, and I've been on moose hunts and guided them, but I hadn't killed one yet. Sounds corny, but I mean.
I'm talking too much, I'm coughing.
Yeah.
Need a cigarette.
Yeah.
Calm that cough down.
And then the second moose I shot was by myself. I was out, scouting out, and John was actually guiding moose hunters. And I had our daughter, Jenna with us. And it was like, let's go check down here. Let's look here. And it was like, I looked down this long. We have a lot of cut lines and gas lines.
Yeah.
And I saw this black spot looked like about 1.5 miles in. And I looked with my binos, and I was like, holy shit. And I started to vibrate. And we're like still driving down the gravel road to get to the farm road to get out to the cut line.
Right.
And Jenna's like, oh, you want me to come? And I was I rattled. I was so excited.
Guys, it's Cameron Haynes here. I want you to win this brand new 2023 Ford Raptor. The tax man loves coming for that money, right? I'm giving away $10,000 cash to offset that for the winning. Enter to win, CameronHaynes.com. Keep hammering.
I'm excited to announce a partnership with Ice Barrel Cold Plunges. You guys know that I make it a daily ritual to jump into the ice bath before a long run just to get my head right. Just a little bump. And Ice Barrel has provided a cost-effective solution for your cold plunge needs. Ice baths are one of the fastest ways I reset my body because it releases all the endorphins in the most natural way. I like to suffer, and I can tell you, once you start using an Ice Barrel cold plunge, you'll like the cold-induced suffer as well. Cold therapy reduces inflammation and pain by constricting blood flow to muscles. By temporarily reducing nerve activity, cold therapy reduces swelling and muscle spasms. Get yours at icebarrel.com and use code CAM for $125 off.
Took me, oh my gosh, probably 45 minutes because I wanted to sneak along the edge of the bush. I was so freaked out that the moose would see me or hear me. And you have cows moaning, bulls calling. And I was like, if I can get in there, I think I can do this. So I snuck all the way in there, figured out where I should hide. The moose had already taken off. 2 of them went by, so I think it was a little bull and a cow that went by. Yeah. And I thought, I know how to call moose. So I started calling for the bull, and then he started answering. And then I heard the cows moaning, maybe half a mile, whatever away. And then it went silent. So I called again, and then it was closer. And then it was like, seriously, if your heart could beat out of your chest.
Yeah, felt like it.
Oh my gosh. So and long story short, it's this big monster, probably. He was over 50 inches. He started coming in, but he was kind of behind the trees, circling around on the other side of the cut line. And I was like trying to get him in, and he wouldn't. He did a loop again. He knew something was up. Yeah. I mean, you don't get that big and old by being dumb. So anyways, I didn't get him, and I thought, well, this sucks. But I heard another so I thought, I'll start calling again. And this one that I shot ended up coming in. He was a pretty young bull, but I was like, he's going to eat amazing. Yeah. I called him in, got him into about 53 yards, hammered him, and he went maybe 60 yards. I watched the whole thing, fell over.
That's a long shot.
My heart. Yeah. And I usually don't have any cell service where we're at. So I kind of ran out towards where Jenna was at the truck, and I didn't have cell service. She texted her dad, and then he asked the clients, like, hey, do you want to go see Jen? And when they got there, it was like, I don't know. I don't know what to relate it to. Whatever drug makes you go crazy and talk 5,000 and I was 5,000 words a minute, and I was vibrating, and I wasn't coherent. Like I was saying, like I was
adrenaline. And so excited. Yeah.
It was insane.
Killing a moose with an arrow is not, I mean, that's hard.
It is. Yeah. And they walk in front of you. They're freaking massive.
Yeah, they're giant.
It's intimidating because when that big one was coming in and calling and, they're tilting their head and their eyes are kind of doing that kooky stuff, I was like, I'm just around little poplar trees here. So I actually started looking where I can kind of back myself. So I had a little, because I know they can get pretty ornery. Yeah. So, but that was cool. And then everybody came help me skin it out and load it, and it was great.
Can't beat that part either.
It was, and so that bull, I mean, we share it with everybody. Like my mom, my dad's not around anymore, so it's like bring her some. You get to share some with the neighbors, and then when clients come up, it's like I don't know. It just means more when you kill it yourself.
Oh yeah, no, and since then you've killed big bucks, big bears, all with your bow. Yeah,
he says I'm spoiled. John says I'm spoiled because I've killed quite a few nice bears.
I know.
I'll sit for them.
Yeah.
We each have kind of our own personal bait, and I mean, I'll sit there when we don't have anybody every day that we don't have them. And like when all that COVID crap was happening, nobody was there. So I was like, I'm going to go sit. So I sat a couple weeks, going to sit again. I mean, and then finally,
big bear comes in.
Big bear comes in.
Yeah.
Big freaking bear comes in.
Yeah.
You're a big bear killer.
I know, she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants me to get the last two. So I got a giant black bear in 2022, and then I got a giant color phase. Did I say that right?
21 and 22.
21 and 22.
Yeah.
Blur. See, COVID makes everything blur.
Both Wood and Crockett skulls.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Giant.
So he wants me to, he said we should do full mount on both so we can take him to trade shows and stuff.
There you go.
I'm like, that would be cool. It'd be like moving a bus.
I know. Those things get...
milk blood.
Okay. Maybe it'll make you feel better.
With having so many clients come up, what do you think?
Tastes good.
You like it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you, I don't know, what determines whether somebody's going to be successful? Because I'm sure you see people, is it messing up in crunch time? Is it not paying attention to the position of the bear and making a poor shot? What screws people up? Because we've already established you're in an amazing country. You guys work your ass off.
Yeah.
There's big bear. So what screws guys up who's coming from, I think most people probably come from the U.S. to hunt with you.
Yeah.
I think the biggest maybe couple is like, so when everybody gets into camp, we have like full-size mount bears there at the house. And you kind of go over shot placement and all the details and if they've never done it before. I think for me, what I found, and most of them will listen pretty good, it's the movement and the smell. It's like, we use Thermacell a lot. We always have it there. Before Thermacell we had it and it was invented or whatever. I mean, if we were using off or whatever Muscal, whatever the mosquito, because there is mosquitoes.
Yeah.
When we'd go in, we'd spray ourselves, of course. And then when we get to the bait, you'd spray it so the bears would get accustomed to that. And now with the Thermacell, that's just the go-to.
Yeah.
So, but you get guys, pretty much most of them are guys that we get. They'll come in and they'll shower in their Old Spice, and I was like, whoa, what are you doing? So you go over all of that and you tell them, so they do it once and then they kind of forget and they kind of go into their old mode, or they'll go out there and smoke a cigar on the bait or chew tobacco, which everybody says that's not a big deal, but they spit it all. Like if you spit it, the bears know.
They can smell
they can smell it for a mile away. They're like, hey, there's something up here.
Right.
We're not going
different.
there. Yeah. So I think the smell and then the movement too. It's, if I'm guiding, I totally, I get kind of anal about it, I guess, really insistent about it. It's like, if this bear is coming in, because as soon as they see a bear, they're like all excited and they want to move. And the bear's like, bolt, we're not coming in. I'm like, let them come in. It might take 2 minutes, it might take 15 minutes, I don't know. Let him come in, let him get comfortable, let him start eating, because he knows we're here.
Yeah.
He might not notify you that he knows, but he knows you're there, like, obviously. Let him come in, let him get comfortable, and wait for that perfect broadside. I mean, maybe a tiny bit quartering away, but I just, especially when I don't know these people, I don't know how they shoot, I don't know what their track record is, and I mean, you get pretty amped up. You can be like 13 to 25 yards away from a bear. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, it's close.
So I'm like, broadside, and if they don't listen and they're like, oh, what happened? I'm like, and I'm always whispering to them. I try to sit so I can just relax, wait. And one, get mad because the bear took off or whatever, and I'm like, just chill, like it'll happen. So movement and scent.
Yeah.
I don't think really I don't think there's that much more you can screw up on except shooting him in the ass or something like that.
Yeah. I think I've seen people screw up is it's tough to, like, a shoulder is really visible on an elk. I think that black, the hair is hard to see, and then the hair hangs down. So people are hitting lower than they think. They think the body line's lower than it is. Yeah. And so they're hitting too low on bear sometimes. Yeah. But and then bear never seem like they're, I mean, it's different too, because it'd be easy to kill any bear. Yeah. But if you're going to kill an old bear that's been around, you know, a big boar that's at least 10, so it's been through the routine a while, maybe could be 15 to 20 years old. Yep. Those bear don't like offering you a wide open rib shot.
Well, look at your bear this year.
Yeah.
He's like, no. Yeah.
And he just knew. It's just like he wasn't looking at us, but as you said, they know.
It's so crazy. Look at your brown bear in Alaska. Yeah. He's facing us the whole time.
The whole time.
He wouldn't turn.
And we were so quiet. And then when we're high, it's like how, but they just know. I mean.
Well, there's times we'll be sitting at the bait and you see the bear walking up straight behind the barrel, all the way up. And you're like, okay, eventually he'll come out and he'll give you a broadside. So he comes up at the back of the barrel, and seriously, he'll look at you above the barrel and lay exactly behind it. Big old monster bear, feed, look at you like this out of the barrel, come back. And then when he gets up to go, he'll stand up on the barrel and eat, and kind of, in my head, I'm playing, you're just winking at us like, haha, like you can't get me. And then when he's done, he drops down, 180, straight out. So all you get is butt. And like, seriously, we've had bears that consistently will do those.
Yeah.
The big ones.
They just know that they know, I think, that they're vulnerable when it's perfectly broadside. Yeah. And
look when they're fighting each other.
Yeah.
A lot of times there's always between them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how do they know? It has to, obviously they smell us. And even if you're still as a mouse, it's like, how do they know to be that cautious? Like, what's in their brain to make them that cautious?
I think it's like, even if they're not looking at us, if somebody was standing in your kitchen, you wouldn't even have to be looking at them. You'd know that there's somebody in here. So to them, I think they know the woods that well.
Yeah.
It'd be like, or if you hear something fall in your house, you're like, did something just fall in the bathroom? So they know, even if they're in the trees, they know where they heard that noise. So it must be, they're just so in tune.
It could be another sense that we don't know either. That we don't have. That we don't.
It might. It very well might be.
Yeah. And some guys will say, oh, do you think he sees us? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, people told me bears have horrible eyesight. I says, well, that's probably a load of crap, because they can see.
So that one's been repeated by people for the last 40 years, that bears have poor eyesight.
I think they see very well.
Scientists have done research on them. They have about the same eyesight as us.
Yeah.
I believe that.
You think one's feeding, and like I tell all the guys, like if they're feeding, baby movements, just like shooting a whitetail. Like, and if you have to freeze, he looks at you, you freeze, and you move, and then freeze. Like as the bear's feeding, if he looks, guys are like, oh no, he sees me. I'm like, just don't move. It's just like stop, go.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're drawing and you're picking it up and all of a sudden he looks at you, just freeze.
Yeah.
And as soon as he turns his head, finish it up.
And I mean, when they're eating, they're crunching, right? So their hearing's a little bit less, and they're focused on the food, especially a beaver or the sweets or whatever.
That's when they got mosquitoes in their ears too. You got mosquitoes buzzing all around.
Right.
I'm glad it's him, not me.
Yeah, I know.
We got thermocells. We don't even know there's bugs at the.
God, it's so nice.
But you do know when you run out of the butane?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Holy smokes.
And I like when it's cold too. You hold those thermocells for a little heat.
I seen you doing that this spring, warming up with the thermocell.
Yeah, we had some colder days, but I think that just in general, I think that people really don't know shit about bears.
I think they do. They totally underestimate.
They don't know. They don't know what they're talking about. People talk like they know about bears, but you listen to them and you're like,
guys like us, people like us, and other friends that are great bear outfitters, hear those people talking.
We just shake our head.
To us, they sound like idiots.
Yeah.
And it could be somebody totally famous that the world looks at as a knowledgeable person.
Right.
Well, we hear what they say. It's like, they have no idea.
Quite a few years ago, we even had a meeting. I don't know, 9-10 years ago, whatever it was, 8 years ago. And there was a biologist that came into town, and we're talking about grizzlies and all of this different stuff, because our grizzly season's been shut down since 2005, 2006. Yep. Anyway, so he's talking about all this stuff, and he's talking about how they find out what bears are in the area and all this different stuff, how they, figure out numbers. And I'm just sitting there and I'm kind of shaking my head. I'm like, well, if you think this is happening in this area of the province, why don't you ask people that are out there? Oh, no, we have our ways. And I'm like, well, outfitters are out there all the time. Trappers are out there all the time. Surveyors, all this different, like they have constant encounters.
There is some good biologists out there, but there is some of the local landowners have told me they've been on they've got big acres of land, and they've seen some trucks going by and end up talking to them, and there was biologists, and they were counting the elk in the area. And the landowner's like, well, I'll tell you, I see them every day. I know what's here, there, there.
Right.
Yeah.
And no, it's fine. We're calculating them. Oh, how you counting them? Are you doing helicopter survey? No. So they were in the woods doing grids, 100-yard grids, and they were counting the piles of poop from the elk.
And there's some formula
that tells them how many elk are there.
And like,
ask the people that see them every day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you realize they move from here, from whatever the poplar, and then they'll move over here, and then closer to winter they'll move towards the farmland, like where we live anyways. So it's like, well, if you're counting all those areas, I'm sure they have some method of madness to it.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just think it's just about, numbers. And sometimes I don't think, maybe I'm wrong on saying this, but I don't think all the biologists have, like, it's not the interest of like really hunters or conservation. Some of them kind of lean a little bit.
Some of good, but some of it really.
Some of it leans, I don't want to say animal activist-ish, but it kind of is that.
A lot of times they're
going to err on that
Yeah.
side.
And it's not like a stewardship type either. It's where it's a couple of the guys that we've talked to, and I was like, I kind
because
of
of funding too. We can't do helicopter surveys in each unit every year. It's just too much money, right? So a lot of times we're 4 or 5 years behind. Where that moose population was going down, and it's too late.
Right.
Every time they
Takes a lot
say,
of years to
we should
recover.
put this on draw or limit how many tags are in this area. Well, it's been hammered for 10 years, and now you do a study. And we're out there, or other guys are out there.
We see it every year, either going down or going up.
Yeah.
Right now, we're seeing it going up. Where we hunt bears and we're taking out these big mature boars. We're seeing more moose tracks. We're seeing more moose every year, a little bit more, and it's all those calves that we're saving.
Yeah. I couldn't. A big boar, man. It'd be. We've seen numbers on grizzly or brown bear what they kill, but I bet a big black bear can cause damage.
Growing up, my dad's always said, and he was in the bush all the time, prospector, geologist, involved in wildlife, and he always said 50% of the calves get taken by bears every spring. Well, now with those studies in Alaska that you guys shown, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Like 30, 40 calves in a 30, 40 day period.
That's
like
insane.
All killed basically, or like 3 weren't killed or something like that. It's just they get in this killing frenzy, and they're it's just instinct. They're not like you couldn't say it's like a human murder or anything, and they're just doing what they're bred to do.
Being bears.
Being bears.
So when I see news saying there was a person eaten by a bear, it was very unusual. No, bears kill things.
Yeah.
No,
there's nothing wrong with that bear. That's what he does.
Yeah.
He did his job.
Yeah. He was a sick bear. He was probably a sick, malnourished bear or something like that.
They don't promote it very much. They keep it pretty quiet when people get eaten by bears, but we have some all the time. Last year we had that helicopter pilot near Swan Hills by our place.
Right.
She was flying in tree planters, and then she spends the day there waiting for the people to get done, and flies them out. And she's picking blueberries by the helicopter, and the bear got her.
So low on the ground, picking blueberries.
That wasn't a sick bear. That was a bear.
That was a predator.
That was his berry patch that he took over. It's fall. They take over areas, and that's their feed before they den up.
And that's where she was.
Yeah.
She was probably down low, bent down, picking berries, looking small.
Mm-hmm.
And they're an ultimate predator. It's not like a field mouse. They're out there. That's what they need to do. That's what they do.
If that helicopter pilot would have had a pistol, it would have probably saved her life.
Yeah.
But for people who don't know, those are illegal in Alberta.
Yeah. You can get a permit if you work in the woods, but it's such a pain that nobody does it. It's rare. The odd person has one. We could do it. We keep saying we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's such a pain. It's got to be trigger locked. It's got to be in your safe. We can take it from home to the gun range. Generally, that's all we can do with a pistol in Canada.
I wonder if it feels like, I know everybody they cuss about their fish and game department, but it feels like, I wonder if Alberta could do better, because I know grizzly numbers are going crazy.
Oh, they are.
But like where we hunted, like where I killed this big brown bear in Europe, you mentioned hunting with me and Roy, they, with terms of moose populations, they allow 2 brown bears to be killed by non-residents and 3 black bears. So you can go up there and kill 5. One guy kill 5 bear, because they know that you have to kill that many bears.
That's why. That's because they know they're killing the moose, they're killing the caribou that the people need to live off.
Yes, right.
So they're trying to balance it.
Yeah, and so I wonder if Alberta could take a page from Alaska.
Yes,
and man, wouldn't that be nice?
And Alberta has I've been to other provinces. Alberta has some of the best management, some of the best officers, some of the best biologists. Like it's a good place.
Yeah, yeah.
But with the grizzlies, like you're looking at it, we know for a fact from where we live.
The grizzly was political, just like British Columbia.
Yeah,
right.
It was
there was
all
no
political.
reason for British Columbia to shut down. They have
Tons of bears.
large numbers of grizzlies.
But you think these sows are having 2 to 3 cubs every 2 years? So they got to expand because they're not going to stay in that same territory. So you think now it's been closed for 20 some years?
Yeah.
Right?
The year that
They gotta
shut
keep
it down,
on expanding.
2005, they shut down the grizzly season. The local warden in our town in Swan Hills was a great guy. I loved him.
Yeah.
Miss him. He's gone now, but he's passed away.
He was the bear specialist for Alberta.
He was the bear problem guy. If there was a problem anywhere in Alberta, somebody
Black
had
or
a
grizzly.
problem, they would fly him in. He'd take care of the problem and fix it. And when they shut it down, the biologist that shut it down he did it for political reasons.
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion, and in that game warden's opinion, they said the whole Swan Hills region, which is like 100 and something miles by 80 miles, it's a big area, that there was 30 or 40 bears in there. Well, the local warden said there was 40 at the dump.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
obviously I don't have them all at that dump, you know.
No,
Yeah.
for sure.
So they're wrong with the numbers.
Yeah. And we see them. I mean, they're out into farmland. They're
They keep
expanding farther than they
They've
have been for
never
a long
been.
time.
They're in farmland.
Yeah.
And they're intimidating
Needs to be
when you're not
solved.
used to running into them.
Well, I saw a video this, when you guys were getting the beavers of that bear.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm driving home with a truckload of beavers, and there's a police officer watching this grizzly. So I pull over and I'm watching him, and all of a sudden the grizzly's nose just starts going up, and he smells my truckload of
Meat
beavers.
wagon. Yeah.
yeah.
Beautiful to see them. They're such
Oh,
beautiful
I know.
animals.
But they are intimidating.
But they need to be hunted. There needs to be. When they shut it down, there was, I think that year, the year before, they would give out 125 draws. So it wasn't just, not everybody could buy a tag. Back in the day when I was a kid, you could. Everybody could buy a grizzly tag. It's a hard animal to find, hard to get. So out of that 125 draws, they would kill about 25 bears. So
Which was decent management.
that's better than killing 25 bears that are problem bears for nothing and they just go to waste.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
You might as well have hunters doing it,
Yeah.
managing it, and then the bears are not such assholes when you see them.
Yeah.
Because they're not the top of the food chain. They
Right,
get hunted.
yeah, they
There's a big
know.
difference when they're hunted and when they're not hunted.
Yeah.
Every
That's what-
grizzly we see has an attitude.
That's what happens in Montana too. They, or Wyoming. There's been a lot of attacks there because they just no fear of man.
Yeah.
They think they run the show.
Yeah.
You got to, with hunting, they're reminded that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
20 years ago, I used to say, "Oh, a bear is a bear is a bear."
Yeah.
No big deal. But I had zero experience with grizzlies,
Yeah,
and
me
I
too.
mean, I grew up and they were around. I just never seen any.
Yeah.
And
I grew up
then
in Ontario where there was no grizzlies till age of 14, so I thought same thing. A bear is a bear. No, the grizzly is a different creature.
Yeah.
my first encounter was pretty freaky because I did not expect it. And long story short, I heard this Christian and crashing, and I thought, oh, kind of sound like a herd of something. I didn't know. So it was just, this is quite a few years ago. And as it was running through the trees, there was tamaracks. It was all tight. I saw this brown. I'm like, holy crap. Because there was elk in the area. I was like all excited. This could be an elk. It was in the fall. And it was a she. And when she came around the corner, she had a 2-year-old cub with her. And everything she did, he did. And let me tell you, it was just like eye contact, and
Yeah.
it was, my heart sunk. It was the opposite of the moose experience. It was just like, and I thought to myself, what do I do? Because I'm sitting in a stand that's it was only 10 feet off the ground.
Right.
And we went in with the Argo, so it was really marshy, tight willows. You had to walk out there. We had 45 minutes till dark, and I'm thinking, wow, like you have 1,000 thoughts go through your head. What do I do? How do I do this? I had my son with me, and it was like, okay, don't panic. I'm the adult here. And it was just like, it was intense. And she came right in, stood right underneath us, and I tried to scare her off. She stood up, and I'm like, if she was right below us, she could have probably touched the bottom of our stand. Like, she was huge.
They're big.
Yeah.
And then that
big
baby
animals.
did exactly everything she did.
Oh, geez.
I had the opportunity to pepper spray one.
Really?
I would not rely on pepper spray in the bush without a weapon.
No.
No. Because it was 5 yards coming straight at me. Jenna was in a tree stand above me. And this bear came straight to me. And at 5 yards, I pulled out the spray. And I normally don't have spray with me. I had a can that time in my backpack. So pepper sprayed it right in the face. And it ran about 20 yards, stopped, sat there, and watched me again. And then did it again. Came back again. Like,
Yeah.
holy crap. Somebody that relies just on this
That's dicey.
could get hurt.
Yeah.
That's dicey.
And then I sprayed it again at 5 yards. This time I hit it really good. I aimed really good. I got it right in the face, and it did the same thing. Ran to the same spot where it felt safe, stopped 20 yards away, looking at me again. I'm like, Okay.
No.
Slug gun.
So if it's attacking you, or like have that mindset of, hey, I'm going to kill this, whatever, it sees a human as, probably a human, but I mean, what is pepper spray going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, even that one that wasn't 100% aggressive, only went 20 yards and came right back. It's like one that's aggressive. You're in trouble.
Make his food spicy.
So the third time I blew a slug, a 3-inch magnum slug out of my 12 gauge at its feet, blew dirt in its face, and it ran off and stopped just a little past where it stopped the other 2 times.
Right.
And I thought, we got to go. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get hurt.
Because the next one, it would be pretty much, he would probably
Alaska,
come at you. Yeah.
The guys wouldn't have messed around. They know grizzly bears. They would have shot that bear at 5 yards.
Yes.
Because your life's at, if it comes at that distance, you're not stopping it.
I know. I mean, in those grizzlies, just a different attitude. Even, we saw that just, I don't know how often you guys see grizzlies and black bear in on the same bay. Probably not often, because you can't hunt where grizzlies are. No. But where we were in Alaska, the black bear would come in, do what black bear do. Yep. The brown bear would come in, 100% different animal. Yeah. Different actions, different intensity.
It's cool that they've learned to take turns. Like that night we saw a black wolf, we saw black bears and big brown bear.
I know.
That was cool.
Yeah.
The black bears don't like to be around when the grizzlies are around.
Usually not.
No. But I've seen, we used to hunt an area that had grizzlies and black bears before. And we saw them where at first, when the grizzlies first moved into the area, you wouldn't see a black bear.
And you'd wonder why the bait would be, there it was dead, and we're like, what the heck?
Yeah, you check the cameras, like, a grizzly came through.
And you're like, oh, crap.
But after a while, they did learn to take turns.
Cohabitate.
The black bear's coming in, the grizzly would come in later and take turns, kind of thing.
Kind of like they'd wait way out on the skirting somewheres and kind of do the movement.
Figure out the pecking order. And
So, I mean, you mentioned counting coup. Do you anticipate, because, I don't know, it's like
there's never going to be a hunter that hunts with us that's going to want to count coup.
I know. There's
only one nut job that'll do that.
Exactly. I see people say that, now people are going to try to do that. I'm like, no, they're not. Nobody's going to be doing. No. And Tanner even said that too.
And some people, like in the what's it called, Bush Dragons video. Yeah. When they see you make that shot and then you take off running through the forest, and some people might think, you're just going to push the animal. He's got an arrow through both lungs. He's going to live about 5 to 9 seconds right now. He's going to pass out before he's done running. He's going to run as fast as he can. And within seconds, he's going to pass out while he's running, and he's dead. So.
And I obviously wouldn't do that if it was a gut shot or in the ass. Yeah. So it's like there's so much happening so quickly that, I don't see anybody doing it. But it's like, I know when I've done it, and I'm not telling anybody to do it. And I hesitated even including it, but it's such a... hunting bear means so much to me.
You do talk about it in the book, don't you?
Yeah. It's in the book too.
So we can talk about it here, then we're good.
Yeah, I explain it. But still, hunting's such a personal journey for people. How could anybody know how another hunter feels?
Yeah.
How you feel.
Remember when you posted the video of us doing it for the first time?
Yeah, I do.
Was it good? No, people wanted to kill us.
They did. And Wayne actually called me and said, you should take that down. And I even tried to explain.
Yeah, even with explaining, people don't read or listen that much anyways.
No. And that's the one, I included it in there, but I took off the audio because... that death moan is pretty intense for somebody.
So I'll explain to people what happened there and why we did it is because a lot of times when a bear's double lung, perfect shot, you'll get a death moan as they're expiring. Now, we've always been taught and told that when a bear's doing that, he's dead. He's passed on, and that's just the last thing to go is the lungs. The lungs can still work a little bit, so that's the last breaths coming out that's making that sound. So that's what we always figured was real, right? But who's ever tested it? So Cam's like, I'm going to shoot a bear, and we're going to go touch it while it's death moaning. Like, you're crazy, but
I got the 12 gauge. What do I care? You're out in front.
You're going to be the one in front of me running with the bow.
Yeah.
I'll follow you with the camera and the shotgun.
Yeah.
But that first one, you went to its butt first, and it's laying there not moving, and it's death moaning.
Yeah.
Then you're moving your hand further and further up as we realized, he's expired. He's gone. He can't do nothing. He can't bite you. He can't move. He's gone, and it's just the lungs. Still work. A doctor could explain how that works, how the lungs are the last thing to go,
But I bet you the connection is surreal.
Oh, it's incredible.
I'm standing above you and you're touching it and you're telling it, it's okay to go. I'm just pouring water. I'm just crying. I'm standing up, filming this thing.
It almost makes me emotional now.
Emotional,
I mean,
well, the
that's
connection,
one of the most
and that's
emotional hunting moments of my life.
Right.
But that's what a lot of people don't get, is until you have an experience like that, I don't think you can understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not disrespect to the animal.
No.
That's respect. I mean,
honor beyond honor.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's bear hunting is, I don't know. And I don't know why bear death moan, and because you talk about lungs.
Well, they're very vocal. You think about all the sounds and everything. I don't want to correlate it to.
There's some animals, I think, in Africa that do that too.
Is there?
Yeah, I heard that lately.
But you think out of all the animals we hunt, like up in Alberta, is there anything else that's vocal like that?
No.
And I've even seen people watch the video and say, "Why'd you guys add in those sounds that the bear made?"
Yeah.
And I'm, what are you talking about? You just don't know even what.
See, but those sounds when we're hunting, that's actually what they make. A lot of the National Geographic and all these things.
You hear the sounds like, that's not a bear.
No.
That's a person doing that one.
I was like, come on. Then the kids think the bears walk around making those sounds, and I hear them. I'm like, they don't make those sounds.
No.
Not like that.
Those sounds are so unique to bear, but it's like they're making sounds all the time and communicating with each other.
Yeah.
I was after this big boar for a couple of days. Well, I only had a couple of days this spring, and he ended up coming in, and he had first this big old sow came in. I was like, okay. And then I heard this. It almost sounded like in the distance, like a moose, this low little grunt.
Oh, yeah.
So she came in, she ate a little bit, she took off, kind of was checking out stuff, wandering around in the back of the bait. And then he finally came in and he destroyed a beaver, ripped a brand new rope, broke it in half.
500-pound test rope.
Unbelievable. Just came in, pulled it, snapped it, walked off with it. And then she came back in and she was eating, and it was like she was looking for him, and she started doing that little ooh, ooh, ooh.
Mm-hmm.
And then she took off walking back out on the trail they came in, and he was way over to the left of me. And all of a sudden you hear him, and he didn't come into the bait again, because if he did, he'd probably be dead. But anyways, hopefully. He comes walking across, and the whole time he's doing this it's like a moose.
Like a bull moose following a cow.
Yeah.
The grunt he does as he's following her.
And not
Bear
just
does
like
the same thing.
one, it was like the whole time. I actually, on my phone, I recorded it, and you can hear it, and he's grunting, and because everything was pretty quiet, I thought that was pretty cool.
It's almost the same sound as a sow does when she's making her cubs follow her.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The little low.
Yeah. And he was kind of like, like every step he took. And as she walked, he was walking faster.
Yeah.
I was like,
he's letting her know he's behind her and he's following her.
So.
Man, I don't know. They're such a special animal.
Yeah.
I mean, they're such a draw to for whatever reason, there's a connection there. But, and especially being on the ground, you know, how we hunt them up there, it's like, eye to eye, you know, I made those hats eye to eye.
Yeah.
It's like when you're eye to eye from a big bear, it's just,
it's a different level.
I love it. I mean,
I've heard something a couple of times in my lifetime of spending thousands of nights in the bush for bear. A sow that was calling. It was cool. If I wouldn't have seen it in front of me, I would have thought it's a wolf calling.
Really?
I would have thought it's a wolf howling.
Almost like a howl.
She was a hot sow, and obviously was no boar in the area because she was just walking all over, rubbing on trees and passing over branches and rubbing herself on.
Yeah, some people who don't hunt, I get a lot of people who don't know, but a hot sow would be sow in heat. And so she's ready to breed, you know.
Yeah.
And
then she sat on her butt and she put her head straight up just like a wolf, and she just went, ooh, and just a low moan for like a minute and a half straight. I'm like, like it made your hair stand up.
Yeah.
That's a bear. It's not a wolf.
Man, I don't know. It's I mean, so I was going to say, like earlier, it feels like, are you guys where you want your business to be now? I mean, how do you feel about the outfitting now? I know it's been ups and downs. Then you're finally, it felt like to me, like you guys were finally, like all this hard work is paying off. Then fucking COVID.
Yeah.
We bought the farm. I mean, instead of being intense and stuff, we finally got a nice house up there. And
19 was epic. Like 2019 was great, and everything was good. So we're getting into 2020, planning everything, and it was like,
there was so many things in the works too.
Yeah.
All kinds of deals with different companies and different people.
Yeah.
Building a big shop, doing all this different stuff, and then COVID hit, and it was like, whoa. Well, and then he started to say, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. And we thought, well, in 2020, do you want to talk about the COVID crap for a minute, or?
Yeah, that's fine.
In 2020.
I just know it screwed up your guys'
it messed us
hopes,
up.
dreams, business, everything you'd worked
for.
Well,
because before that, we're like probably at the best we've ever been. I mean, debt-free, Business is going great. Of course, health, all that other stuff. But it was like we were doing good. I mean, always room to expand and grow.
Always challenges, but
it was good. Like we were doing good, and we were really excited about getting the farm, going to the next step, getting ready to build a shop and everything. And long story short is when COVID hit, we're like, well, holy crap. We couldn't do anything. And that 2 weeks, they kept on telling us that. So you prepare, right? We kept on preparing because in 2 weeks,
so if we shut down for 2 weeks,
we got to be ready for hunters in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we were booked for 2 years. We were booked
for moose and deer. You don't have to get much ready, but for bear, you got to be baiting.
Yeah. And if you don't bait, you don't have bears. So it's like 2 weeks. Well, it's only going to be 2 weeks. You bait. So we did that all spring, all fall. And then the next spring we started baiting again, and we're like, hey, we got to taper off like just a little bit, but it has to open. They were promising it was going to open. No.
So and you guys are investing money. This isn't like people might think you're using scraps or bread you get from the whatever. No. You're buying oats.
We're buying oats. We're driving hundreds of miles to pick up
all of our supplies and everything that we bait with. Yep. And then not only that, you got to kind of be a little bit prepared, like at the lodge too. If something, guys can come, well, you want to be a little bit prepared.
Well, so running all those baits is wear and tear on your vehicles, on your quads, on your whatever it is. It's like that takes money because there's that mud is crazy. It'll lock up axles, and you're replacing stuff all the time or bearings. And so just the work that goes into baiting, not just the work, but the cost associated and equipment is crazy.
And it's everything to build up to the hunt. So we went from 19 to be like, I would say the top of where we've been in doing this for 30 years now, to 2021 being like, holy shit. Like, are we going to keep it? Are we going to keep
somebody says I lost my job, we lost our job, basically, right? So
but not because we wanted to. The border was closed.
You wanted to work.
We wanted to work. We were ready to work. We would do whatever we could to work.
That's why this spring with all the forest fires almost shutting us down. It was so close. We were on a 3-hour alert at one time. Swan Hills got evacuated.
Yeah.
So we're like, we're going to keep grinding. We're going to, we were kind of in the middle of it all. There was fires in every direction from us. And we just kept grinding, and clients were calling saying, should I cancel? Should I cancel my flight?
Like,
no. Come. We're not doing a third or fourth year of no clients.
God.
Get your butt here. We're going to hunt.
Instead, we went from our highest basically to our lowest. I mean, when we were young and we first started out, I don't even count that because you're learning, you're growing. It's different.
Every year you're at the bottom. To get
it's like, whoa, wow, we have $5. This is great.
With us though, no matter what happens, we're never going down in the dumps because we got faith. We got we just keep on.
We knew we were going to make it.
Keep grinding and keep going, and we got back into manufacturing tackle and hunting products.
Keep hammering.
Got on the road with a vehicle full of fishing tackle and hunting products, and went sold. And the stores were happy to see us. Some of them we hadn't sold to them for years, and they were happy to take us back. And man, we need product. I'm glad you're making some. And they bought everything we had. So it's not a fortune making fishing tackle, but it paid the bills. And
we did everything we could to stay afloat.
Hustling. Yeah.
We incurred a lot of debt, but you had to keep the lights on. You had to keep stuff functioning because when the border did open, you knew you could get back to work. So you can't let it fold. It got dicey.
And then there was outfitters that sold hunts to residents, and some of them at cheap prices just to get people hunting. And I thought, no way, I'm not doing it.
We talked about it.
I'm going to save my animals for my clients that are going to come. And when it opens up, we're going to kill some big bears.
Well, and also if they're residents, then you're like showing them where you're hunting.
They come back to the area and hunt by themselves, and then your area's screwed.
Right.
And I mean, we wanted to stay pretty faithful to our group of people. I mean, we could have sold it for half price and whatever, and brought up residents. It's just not worth it. And then also, in my head, I mean, I'm not dishing any other outfitter that did it. Everybody has to do what they have to do. But for us, in my head, it would just say, well, the money was way more important than the commitment we made to you. And I mean, your finances is helping us. That's what makes us a living. So just to go basically, I'll say it this way, just to shit on them to make a couple bucks, that's not who we are.
Wouldn't feel
so
right.
we wanted
to me, that's that animal that I'm raising for you and the other guy and the clients that are booked that are coming. That's what those animals are for, is for you guys. So why would I give them away to somebody else?
No.
Well, we need to keep other guys that say, well, we need to keep our guides busy.
And we got rewarded. I mean, the clients came, shot big bears, and rewarded us with, they know we struggled, and we had already spent the money basically baiting for 2.5 years. So
well, that's a different thing as an outfitter, right? It's not like, say you're a car dealer, you sell the car, you get the money, there's the car. Well, being an outfitter, the way we do it, is like you get the deposits in, you're preparing for when those people are coming. So by the time they come, it's like that money's all been spent in baiting, supplies, trucks, vehicles, sourcing, all that stuff.
It's an investment.
The bills still come.
Yeah, whether the clients come or not.
Yeah, they still came. So
yeah, well, there was a while there where it was like on such a good run, but you talked about your faith. You never gave up faith, and you always stayed true to what motivates you and doing the right thing. But there was a time there where Rogan was up there, Luke Bryan was up there.
Yeah.
I mean, how did that feel? As
high, it was amazing.
Oh my God! I mean, so you were up in, it's not like you're in LA and there's stars everywhere. You're in Alberta, and there's true stars, celebrities coming to your house.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
And bear hunting with you guys. How was that?
It was awesome.
So good for the province. I mean, the promotion. I mean, we did the TV show with Luke Bryan with Buck Commander there on that hunt.
Yeah.
So good for Alberta.
And then Joe coming up with you, that was epic. I mean, like, since you guys have been when you started coming up, that was pretty cool. Like, it started to change just the dynamics, because it's the presence, and it's not just advertising. Anybody can advertise.
Right.
But when you have somebody that knows hunting, knows what they're doing, and has a reputation for hunting, and says, hey, these people are decent, this is what they do. It's different. It's almost like a referral saying, hey, you can count on this because I do. And then when Joe came up, it was just getting those little blurbs. Like, as soon as you're mentioned on a podcast or something,
Joe was so good for all of us.
Yeah.
So good for his friends.
He mentions you guys all the time.
The phone gets lit up like crazy. And I was like...
And all he has to say is, my friends John and Jen in Alberta, and people find us. Just like that.
They have to search. They have to search. So it's pretty epic. I mean,
and he hasn't even been up in 4 years probably, or
six.
Or 6. And he still mentions you guys all the time.
Yeah. It's been a while.
We just visited him in March in Austin.
That was cool. That was good to see him. I mean, since the COVID stuff, it's like we say, well, last year. It wasn't last year.
I know.
Jeez, it was 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, it goes so
stuff that
fast.
feels like last year, but it's 2019.
Yeah, because I wasn't there for 3 years.
I know, and it's like
crazy.
this time gap. Where did it go? So everything's a blur. It was kind of...
I don't know anymore how many bears are shot together. I lost track.
Yeah.
One day we'll have to figure it out.
We were...
Look at pictures.
We were curious. We got the 3 in Alaska, and I was trying to think.
3 in Alaska in 4 days, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think we stayed 4 days and then left.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to ask you about that too before we forget. But everybody, like yesterday, a lot of people talked about Roy.
Yeah.
And because I've talked about him a lot, and there's a saying that a person dies twice. They die one time when they die and they'll leave the earth, and another time, the last time their name is mentioned. So people were asking me about Roy yesterday, but I was curious on hearing or having the listeners. I know how you
just noticed the table when you said that.
How you feel about so this table is like right there. He was born in 65 and then he died in 15, and so this is basically a tribute to him, because he's the one who got me started bow hunting.
That's awesome.
But we spent nearly a week together bear hunting with Roy. What was your impression on him?
It was awesome, and I think I took that picture.
Did you?
Yeah, when you were walking in Alaska. I'm pretty sure.
No,
not that one.
This was the moose.
That was the moose.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
I'm thinking of a picture that I see in one of your videos or in one of your clips.
Yeah, with the bear. Oh, let me think.
It was on the way into where you shot the first bear.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there in that tall grass
Yes.
with the little water holes and stuff.
Yeah.
He was excited like a little kid going on a field trip.
Oh, that was
going to
'cause-
Alaska
'cause
for the
you've
first
never
time.
been to Alaska.
The reason I wanted to go
is
I seen how you act with the bears in Alberta, and I thought, he's going to die in Alaska. I need to be there to make sure he doesn't die.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was pretty exciting.
It's a
Roy
risk.
gives
for
me
sure.
an old pistol that he's not sure if it still works
God,
or if
I
it
know.
fires.
It's been in the bottom of his pack for years, but I don't know. So, I mean, about Roy, everybody always wants to know what it's like to be around him. What do you remember?
I have images in my head that I can't erase of Roy.
Yeah.
How about in camp in the morning, sitting on his little chair, and he's got no shirt, he's got his white underwear on, and he's got a pan in front of us on the fire, and he's cooking us bacon.
Yeah.
And he hadn't brought any butter, so every meal started with a pound of bacon.
Yeah, because that was going to be
Fry
our
up a
grease
pound
for
of
everything
bacon.
else. Yeah.
A lot of peanut butter and peanut butter bagels with bacon.
It's
so good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. Frying the bagels in the bacon grease.
Yes.
And then
So
peanut
good.
butter and bacon on the sandwiches. Yeah.
And like you said, in the woods, you don't throw away the crust.
Never.
You eat
No.
everything.
Yeah.
We ate everything. But yeah, I remember the first day we got there. I can't remember what time we were hunting, but we were up there and we were glassing for a little while looking for bear, right? For brown bear. And it had been like probably, I don't even know if it had been an hour. And I'm like, this is impossible. We're never going to get one killed. I mean, we're joking, but in an hour, we're already like, what is going on? And then it was the first stalk of the hunt. I killed a bear.
Crazy. Isn't it cool though, from our tents, you had a tripod there, like a deer tripod stand, 15 foot high. And standing on the ground, you couldn't see any bears. The grass is too tall by the ocean there, but you'd get up in that thing and you could glass. And I think we could glass from that stand maybe 20, 25 bears in every direction from us.
I know.
And then you think, we're sleeping in that little pup tent. So nice thing. There was an electric fence around the food tent where all the grocery bags were.
Right.
And nothing on the one we're sleeping on.
Where we're frying bacon.
He was like, I'm not sure about this one.
I really thought they were going to eat the Zodiac boat. Like when we beach the boat and then we go hunt on the island. Mm-hmm. I thought we're going to get back. That bear's going to have eaten that boat.
Yeah.
We'll be able to get out of here.
Could have. I mean, that was where I killed that big bear, was a little island.
Yeah.
But they were out there.
That's a cool setup, the way Jonah and Roy would do that. Baiting on an island.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. He came back with stories. He was like so happy that he got to meet Roy and meet some of his family.
We flew out on 2 different flights, I think, when we flew home.
Yeah.
And you flew before us, so I got to spend a little more time with Roy that afternoon before I left. And it was good to talk with him and spend time. And we talked about Jesus the whole time. Oh,
I know. He that's one thing Trace would always tell me, is he would talk to her about me, like he was worried about me or praying about me. And who does that? Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, that's only truly people who care about you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Most people are so wrapped up in their own bullshit.
Yeah.
They don't have time to even care about anybody else.
I
Truly,
knew a little bit more about his history. Actually, listening to the podcast with you and Wayne, I learned more about you guys, even about you and Wayne, and about Roy in that podcast, and I figured out why Roy was so tough. I mean, you're a concrete guy.
Yeah.
You don't mess with a concrete or a roofer. Those guys are tough as nails.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also growing up being a trapper, because you guys know, you know, you just learn so much about animals running a trap line. So that's where that woodsmanship, because a lot of hunting is woodsmanship. Mm-hmm. You're interpreting sign, reading the woods, you know, predicting what animals are doing, and that's how you catch animals in traps. Yeah. You know, so he had a lot of knowledge there.
Yeah.
And you got to adapt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not like driving down a road with pavement and there's a flashing sign, you turn there. It's like everything you do, whether it's trees, mud holes.
We got to experience Alaska one more time after that. Since then, Jen and I went to Alaska for 2 weeks fishing salmon and halibut with a friend that sings music.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I bet.
Flew there on his jet.
Yeah, I bet, because that was out of Unalakleet, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or
no, somewhere up there, but we're not going to say what the names are of the places. Just
that's good.
Well, he turned 50 that summer.
Yeah,
so that was
turning 50 was awesome. That was my 50th.
Oh, I see.
Birthday.
So that was in 19. So 19 was like pretty up there.
Yeah.
We did a bunch of stuff that So we got married young, we had kids young, and jumped right into working, family, everything. So it was like there was no big traveling, vacationing, anything. It was just like family, work, and that's what we did. So now, like I said earlier, all of our kids are adults now. And it was like we went to see Kip in Maryland, which was pretty cool because we'd never been there before.
Yeah.
And then we
had an itinerary for us planned.
Yeah.
Every hour of the day, where we're going to be, where we're going.
He's never done that shit for me. Hey, Brandon, has he ever done that for you? An itinerary with all the activities?
At this time, we're at the Colonel's house having appetizers and drinks, happy hour and appetizers.
Yeah. This day we're going fishing with Kobe.
We're in the Chesapeake Bay on air-conditioned boat.
The coolest thing was everywhere as we stayed, where he had us staying as we went through our trip, he had elk meat in the freezer for us.
That's awesome.
I was like, that was awesome.
There's elk in the freezer.
Yeah. Here, help yourself, this, that. It was so cool.
Definitely never done that for me.
Yeah.
Kip, if you're listening, I swam naked in your pool.
Oh.
Jeez. That's too much information, buddy.
He's probably got a security camera.
There was cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't think they were working, maybe, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It was 90-something degrees with 90-something% humidity. You'd step outside and you're soaked.
We're not used to that.
Yeah. Well, you know, I was thinking one thing, too, about you guys in particular. You know, the vacation and the good life and like all those opportunities. It feels like to me, you guys like working. You know, I mean, you didn't have to come and cook and do all this.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like like working, you know, and I see you in camp, how hard you work. And I think there's John gets, it's like you're sometimes cooking, and so you don't get to go hunt as much as John. And I feel like, is that hard sometimes? Because I know you love to hunt.
She does.
I know you love to be with the clients too, but you also have to prepare meals.
It used to
but
be,
now that we have Julia,
it used to be
she
a lot
can get
harder
away from the kitchen quite
so
a bit.
before it used to be I do the whole thing, cook and everything. Now as Julia's made her way up, she used to help me a little bit, prep a little bit, and then she started cooking a bit, and then we kind of do half and half, and then she'd start prepping stuff so I could grill or do whatever I was doing when I get back. And now it kind of flip-flopped where she'll do probably a lot of time 90% plus, depending on who's in camp, what we're hunting, and stuff like that.
Soy chicken today was Julia's recipe. She did that, and then those scallop loaded potatoes on at the bow rack on Friday.
Yeah.
But I mean, and she started out by like, I like to cook. But now I find as I get older, I'm kind of messier than I used to be, because I used to have like OCD really bad. So it'd be I'd cook and I'd have to clean. Everything had to be in its place.
I see.
And now I just kind of go because I know she's behind me.
Yeah.
And she knows how I think, how I like stuff. She's my mini me.
Yeah.
So she does excellent on everything she does. And I mean, when I come back, kitchen's cleaned, everything's in order, and I'm just like.
She just washed all the dishes from the event for the camper.
That's
in the sink in the camper.
Yeah.
You guys are similar as far as like, you know, you're like, I don't know, very confident, and she's like, she knows exactly what she wants. You guys are, you remind me of each other, you know, and it's just, I like it. But what I think of you when I think of Jenn Rivet, I'm like hard worker, good hunter. Yeah. And it's like, it's hard to, when you're doing all those responsibilities. So I'm glad she's helping, because I love Julia in camp too. She's awesome, but man, you guys got a process, but it's all built on all the sacrifices you've made and the experience you've had over 30 years. And now it's where it's at, and you're realizing these rewards. It's awesome.
And you realize what's important and what's not important. Yeah. Like over all these years between, you know, kids coming and going, which is unique, kids getting married, now grandbabies into the picture. And of course there's sicknesses and different things that happen, and financial stuff. And, you know, you lose people. Some you lose, I mean, you get to see them again, so that's the benefit later on. Yeah. But you just realize what's valuable. I mean, it's your relationships, your family, what you're connected to, and the rest, whatever. And like, seriously, we talked about this a lot, even when we're driving up here or down here. It was like the whole COVID stuff and that. If it would have came, and I never thought we would lose everything. Like we weren't gonna sink. But in the back of my head, I thought, well, if it is that something happens that we can't make it, we'll make it at something else. We're just, we just.
When you're self-employed,
you guys are fighters.
You can't afford to fail when you're self-employed.
No.
And it's
you'll survive. You'll figure something out.
In most of the world, when you're self-employed, it's to get a loan or anything, it's tough because you don't have a regular 9 to 5. Well, guess what? As a self-employed person, I can't afford to fail. I'm not going to stop.
Right.
So.
Yeah, because there's no paycheck coming in. Yeah. It's like if you decide, well, I'm not working anymore, well, you're either living in a tent or going to live back at your parents'. Like, there's not a lot of options.
During COVID with the fishing tackle, there was most nights we were grinding away, making hooks till 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning.
Then going on the road for a couple days. But, I mean, we had that.
Yeah.
Something we knew how to do. What do we do? Okay, well, we know how to make tackle.
Yeah.
We know how to make hunting
products. We know how to build. We know how to do this.
Recalibrate. Yeah.
It was so hard to get product, though, to get anything.
Components to make
bottles
anything.
For our deer scent, our elk scent, our like you couldn't get bottles anywhere. Every bottle was being used for sanitizer, no matter what the shape or size around the world. They were being used. So
I ordered stuff in the beginning of 2021.
Yeah.
And I got stuff in March 2022.
Yeah.
Supplies.
I think there's still back orders.
There is. There's still back orders. Wow. I got a call the other day. Hey, this just came in. I'm like, that was from 2021. Don't really need it.
Yeah.
But I mean, your dad used to always say fighters never quit.
The part
you get knocked down, you just got to keep on going.
About manufacturing tackle and hunting products is the relationship with the stores, all the people that we sell to, like the ones that we like and love. We go deliver. You know, we get on the road and load up the vehicle, load up the expedition full of tackle right from front to back,
and the trailer
and
or whatever.
Stop at all these little towns in Alberta, Saskatchewan.
I mean, you don't have to. It's not. In some ways, it's not the most cost-effective way, but for us, you go make a connection because there's so much competition with pretty much any business out there.
Right.
You go make the connection, and it's like, okay, it's Albertans making this at home in Alberta. Like, we're supporting the economy. Yeah. This is how we make a living, and they're doing the same with their store or whatever they're doing.
Not buy it? How could they say no to the product that's very beautiful, well done product, and it's made in Canada, made in Alberta. Like,
no, you make it tough, overseas. But you do that. Relationship is an investment for sure.
And then that connection's there. You're not just your product A, B, or D. Like there's something more to it.
I actually love the selling part of that too. I love walking into a new store and just don't even bring a sample in. Just go in, sell yourself first, and then you can sell them anything.
Do we have any bear hunters that are interested from this weekend?
There is.
There's quite a few guys that have been asking. So
it'll be cool.
Yeah, my dream would be for you guys to charge more per hunter, have everybody have an opportunity at big giant boars, and not have to work like a full camp is 24 hours a day of work basically, but work, make good money, have good times. Cultivate these relationships, share Alberta with people who appreciate it, and then come and do this kind of stuff whenever you want. Like, hopefully we have these events, and you guys come down and.
Oh yeah, we want to be there.
Jen mentioned this too the other day. Is like, it's like a way to I think how you termed it was love on people, basically. It's that fellowship that I mentioned. I've heard people yesterday say that this was. Like some of the discussions were better than church.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because it's real. It's real, and that you're there, and people can look in your eyes and hear your voice and know that what you're saying is real and true. And you care. And it's like, so that would be my ideal vision. We do this, we kick ass. The bear hunting is amazing. We keep sharing that. Because the film. It's hard making a bear film that's not going to get just slammed by anti-hunters or threats or like it. So we did it. We made
Isn't it amazing how little attacks we get now?
Yeah,
at the beginning, we were getting hammered, death threats from everywhere. Like
I didn't hardly get any from that whole film. I didn't hardly get anything.
But the way everything's portrayed, like I remember years ago, different programs and stuff, the way they'd show a bear hunt, and it was like. I don't want to say it wasn't classy, but it was. There was no really educating. There was no relationship, if that makes sense, with what you're hunting. There was no purpose. It was just like, I'm a big bad hunter. I got to go kill this. Yay for me! And then it was like, no, there's so much more. The kill shot is like, 10 seconds, a minute worth of the whole hunt experience. And with that, you showed so much before and behind, and it gives people a good glimpse of like, it's not just about, I got to go kill this. That's your intent. You'd like to, and you want to, but there's so much more around it. It's just, it's the experience.
And that I'm pretty cognizant of that now because we've had to deal with a lot of negative, but even on that bear where this last one I killed, there was a time right when I recovered it where I said something. It's like I was kind of smiling, like, man, we had to earn that one, and I was smiling, and I was like, take that out. I said, I want the moment to be somber because truly that's what it is. We do things, we react in different ways because we're talking about different things, and so we might smile for whatever reason. We're not smiling because the bear's dead, and but we're smiling because of sharing it with somebody, but somebody who doesn't know, they're going to look at that and go like, look at these guys. They think it's funny. So I just, to avoid all that, because I've learned lessons the hard way, I'm like, no, let's take that out, make it very powerful in this way. But it feels like it worked. So I want to do more of that. And
I love how you always think about how you're going to present it and how you're going to write it. Like you've done good for bear hunting and animals too.
You're telling people a story that they can actually, instead of just right away, killer, meanie, you're going to hell, you're an awful person, where it's like you actually give them a chance to listen and participate a little bit in the story and like try to evaluate, hey, is this actually something I could listen to? Like, is this educational? It's not just like nutso.
Yeah, and hunting is, I don't expect anybody to have my same mindset or your same mindset or yours. But just to like know that, okay, I don't feel that way, but I understand why they do. And if it's genuine, then we get a little bit of grace. All we're asking for is grace. You don't have to go kill bear, but here's why we do it. Just think about it. And they've been very objective with what we put out there. And I think it's helped change just the stigma of bear hunting.
With us having a lot of native reserves near us, well, all of northern Canada, northern Alberta, it's got reserves everywhere, but the natives will not typically shoot a bear.
Right.
It's something spiritual to them. It's ancestors and stuff like that. But in the past, they've used bear products, you know, the bear fat for medicine, for different things. And
so when we kill a bear,
when we kill bears, I mean, we're gonna kill 30, 40, 50 bears a year. So we save all the fat, we render it. Jen renders it on the Traeger outside and makes all beautiful little mason jars out of it, and we'll go deliver it to the elders at the reserves.
Oh man!
And it's like you're walking up. Seriously, it's like you're giving them a brick of gold, even more precious than that, because it's something very. It is very spiritual for them.
Because they don't want to kill a bear.
Right.
But they're happy that we're killing them to give them the product and to save the moose at the same time. They understand that.
But it's very medicinal for them. Like they'll ingest it for digestive stuff. They'll put it on their skin, in their hair. They'll make salves out of it. Like it's
for the skin, it's amazing. That part I know for sure. I mean, for skin ailments, rashes, eczema.
Yeah, I mean, we beautiful. Like this. One of the sponsors I have here is Santa Cruz Medicinals, but they got beef tallow. You know, so it's like good for your skin. But it's even better.
You think what the bear eats, the antioxidants that are in there.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Fry some steak and some eggs in bear lard. I just call it bear lard because it looks exactly like pork lard. You can't tell the difference. There's no smell. And people are like, oh, it must be gross. I'm like, there's no smell.
Right.
If I would put it in front of you, you wouldn't know what it was. You'd be like, oh, that's lard.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think you know, over this time, people's perception on bear hunting is kind of changing a little bit, and hopefully we can keep up with this messaging. And it's such a blessing that from 2013, for whatever reason, you sent me a message to come up there and
I took a chance on you. I just had a feeling. I just had this feeling, this gut feeling, right, which we know is the God part that's in our lives. And we had guided lots of TV shows and just didn't get much out of it, didn't sell much hunts out of it. And you can blow a lot of money taking TV shows, especially if you're giving them a free hunt.
Yeah.
And if nothing comes out of it, man, you're the quick way to go broke, quick way to bankruptcy.
We learned that fast.
Yeah.
The hard way.
And I remember we were sponsored by Nikon. You were too at the time, I think. And I saw you in a Nikon Living the Dream magazine. That's the name of our company now, Living the Dream.
Yeah.
And I saw that somewhere in the middle there, this crazy guy from Oregon on a street bike with a backpack with a bow on his back. I'm like, who the hell is that? So found out about you. John LaCourte had told us about you, and then I just had this feeling to take you hunting. And Jen had enough with guiding TV shows guys for free and crap like that. So.
Well, no, I was like, he was the big social media buff. I really wasn't paying attention too much.
Yeah.
I was busy.
Yeah. I'm like, Jen, I just feel we got to take this guy hunting.
Yeah.
And I was like, I looked up a little bit and read a little bit. I'm like, okay, well, we'll give it a whirl. Seems okay.
Glad we did.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Well, and I
wouldn't know Joe Rogan or Luke Bryan.
Yeah. I think people have a misconception too, because, you know, you mentioned the TV shows and giving away free hunts. It's like, for me, I respect so much what you guys do and how hard it is. I mean, I don't even go on free hunts. I'm not talking about you guys. I pay for every hunt that I do. Full. I don't expect anything for free. So, you know, people talk about, well, TV hunters are like this or social media are like this. It's like, they might be. You don't know me though. I mean, what I do, I respect how freaking hard, not just you guys, but any guides that are out there, they're helping somebody else succeed, right? Or an outfit, they bought the rights to this land or bought this property, whether it's a lease or not. They've, you know, they deserve, I don't expect it for free. They didn't get their opportunities for free. So people like might have you know, they think everybody's like, oh, well, you just get that for free is why you do it. No, I do it because I believe in you guys. And that's
somebody asked me that today about the Traegers. Are you guys just cooking on Traegers because you like them, or are you cooking on Traegers because they pay you? And I'm like, we love the Traegers. We don't do anything with any company or people unless we love them and love the product and the people at the top of the company. Unless we
learned that over
everything
years.
From top to bottom, we're not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys have been burned just like me. You know, you want to believe in people, and then, or you might have a feeling about it, and you're like, well, maybe I'm just like being paranoid, and then that feeling is real, and it's like, why did I do this? Why do now I'm working with this person? So you learn hard lessons.
John can comment on that, a difference of
opinion. If I would
opinion.
listen to Jen most of the time, it would have been a lot better, a lot easier. She always had that gut feeling.
Just like even when you meet
intuition.
I don't know if it's woman intuition or whatever, but it's just you pick up on different stuff. Like I pay attention to different things, and sometimes it's just that little inner voice or like.
I think women are better at that. I think guys are just like more surface and more like whatever. I think women are better at that.
Well, we were talking, Lisa and Julie and I, about. And Jess too, kind of like you kind of have to be. You have to be more aware. You have to be more alert. I mean, normally, not always, but normally the mom is with kids. Like when you have your little ones, you have to be, especially nowadays, it's bananas. You have to be paying attention. You have to be, and I don't want to, I'll say it, I people watch. When I'm somewhere, especially when Hazel's around, our granddaughter, I people watch. And right away, I'm looking around to see who's there, who's behind us, how, you have to be safe.
Well, I know there's women, I go running at night all the time. And women can't do that. But if they do, like you say, you have to be so aware. A guy doesn't have to. Maybe we should, but we don't. And so because you have to be in tune, you can pick up on.
That's probably what it is.
Jess was telling us yesterday of this guy that, homeless or whatever he was, he picked up a 2x4 and was coming towards her at the truck. She threw the kid in the truck and closed the door. And,
that's scary.
Gotta be aware of what's happening.
Now, see, like even what happened to me in Edmonton quite a few years ago, this old guy coming across, and as soon as I seen him walking across the parking lot, I was jumping in Jenna's Jeep.
You could tell.
And I was just like, that alarm bell went off. It was like, okay, this isn't right. I'll say it's that God voice, because normally you just don't look at somebody and say, oh yeah, this is trouble. It's just like, whoa. So I jump in the Jeep and I'm not used to it. I get usually I lock the door right away. I stick the key in. And in this case, I was taking off my jacket. I locked the door, went to put my jacket on the seat. That big guy, he was probably 6'4", 6'6", huge guy, had a big beard, was at that door banging on the window.
Jeez.
So if I wouldn't have pushed that button and locked it,
you'd opened it.
And I was like, no. And then he started banging, and then he started trying to open the door. And I'm like, started it, put it in reverse, and I started backing up, and he kept on banging. And I was like, no. Then I picked up my phone, like I'm going to call somebody, and then he hurried off.
And in Canada, we can't defend ourselves. We can't carry pistols. So in the U.S., a lady would have been, sure?
But do you think if you or John would have got into that Jeep, the guy would have came and did the same thing?
No,
probably not.
Probably not.
Because he'd probably get ran over, fist in the mouth or whatever, but your competition.
So you do have to be better at reading people. And maybe that's why you have that, instinct or whatever.
Back in the day before civilization, you'd have had to have been watching out for animals in the woods wherever you were living.
Learn how to fight. That's why I said if you could ever have a choice of like what your physique would be and stuff, like program it in, make her this way. I'm like, I told him, I joke about it. I probably said it the other day. It's like, I would like to be like about 6'2", 6'4", probably about 240, ripped. Maybe okay looking. I don't even care about good looking. Just badass. So all these people.
If I was married to you, I would hope you're good looking.
Yeah. But just badass that when people like, not that they're intimidated by you, but they don't mess with you.
Right. Yeah.
Because
like
I know.
Brianna of Tar in
I know
Game
some.
of Thrones.
Like I know some ladies that they're like police officers or whatever into like weightlifting and stuff, big time, and like they're big, like they're tough, they're strong, they're confident, and I was like, stature plays a part. Look at the Bears.
They're all body language and stature. For sure.
So I was like, whoa.
Look at when we're dealing with the Bears. I mean, just a movement like this, or a movement like this.
I know.
If they're getting too close into our zone, all we got to do is go like this, and they back off.
I know.
As simple as that.
It is.
That's wild.
Yeah. See, that's how they communicate. So, but I mean, I think humans can learn from that also, and you can add that to you're good at it. But I mean, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm so thankful and grateful for your friendship. And to be able for you guys to come down here and then connect with all these people here. I mean, obviously you've known Wayne for a while, but all these new people who flew in from crazy places.
It's epic.
We're from Australia.
Yeah.
It's a long ways to come.
But so now they know of you guys. To me, that's one of the greatest parts of the weekend is that eat that food it connects people.
Yeah.
When you prepare a meal or you're eating a prepared meal from somebody, then there's like this relationship.
Yeah.
And so for you to be able to do that and do it so well and make such great food, these guys will go, that's going to be a talking point when they go home.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
And just to share my life, and you guys are part of my life. So it's like, thank you.
They were all so sweet, like very sweet. Can I help you with anything? Like, you're here. You paid to be at this event. Like, I want to serve you. I want to make sure everything's perfect. I want you to go home a raving fan.
Yeah.
I want nobody to say, oh, this was off or that was off, because your name was on the show. Doesn't matter all the people that are involved. If your name's on the headliner, you're the one that's going to get the.
Yeah, I'll get.
If there's any crap.
We always say with what we're doing or what we're doing with friends, we don't just want fans. We want raving fans.
Raving fans.
We want them. We want to give 150%.
Yeah. And you try to do everything with excellence. And if you're not, whether it's bow hunting, being a mom, working at a garage, whatever it is, if you're not doing it with excellent or to the best of your ability, why are you doing it?
Right. We're not just going through the motions.
And it's got to have a purpose. Like you're talking before, everything has to have a purpose. And I mean, with the ministry part, so I've loved cooking for a long time. Obviously, we have 4 kids, so you got to learn how to cook in a big family. So it was kind of that way. But then as I got into it more, I really enjoyed it more. And I found, like, even with our church family and stuff, it would be like, well, come over to our house. Another family, we're doing okay, so it's come over to our house. We'll make lunch for you. We'll make supper for you. We'll take your family fishing. Come over for a fish fry. It was just, I don't know, when you have food on the table and you're feeding people, it's a different level connection.
It is.
Because now it's more intimate. It's like you're cooking something, you're serving something, they're interacting, because they're going to put it in their body, so they got to, kind of like you or something a little bit, trust that you're not going to try to kill them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know what stands out to me too is like that first meal at the bow rack that you prepared. It's that, we talk about as hunters, we're providers. So what stands out to me was the mule deer. You had the dish of mule deer
bacon wraps.
Bacon wraps.
So that was Julia,
right?
Voluntarily giving
her
mule
kill.
deer.
Yeah.
She's like, you got to bring this down. We got to cook this down there.
Right. So we're talking about, hey, we're providers, and then you're providing meat that was actually killed on a hunt, and that means so much more to the people eating it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's this connection that we're forming, but it's like, I don't know. I just can't even explain how.
The chili cheese dip today had Wayne's elk in it.
Without you guys here, it wouldn't have been the same. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have been the same.
People got to eat bear from your
It would have been
sticks.
fine.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been, and they may have been fans still, but as you said, they're raving fans because it was like, food is such an important part of what we do. We have to be fueled for these, we put them ran them through the gauntlet, but it's just like, it's this fabric of like, it holds everything together. And so for you to prepare it and you guys to come down here and do this, it's like, it made the biggest difference to me personally. And I'm just so grateful. Thank you.
It was our pleasure, our honor.
Last week when we were in Salt Lake, we actually didn't have any work to do basically. So we're sitting one day beside this little lake, enjoying the water. It was hot. It was killing us 100 plus degrees. We're not used to that.
Yeah.
So Jen's sitting on a lawn chair by the lake and she's like, wow, is this what it's like to be on vacation?
Yeah.
It was weird.
Stops. At home, we stop and we go to bed.
Yeah.
When we stop, we're going to bed.
And after about half an hour, I'm like, he says, what's wrong? I'm like, I don't know. I'm starting to think about, we're going to Oregon. I already had like menus prepared and all that stuff, but it doesn't shut off until a certain time. So I was like, this is weird. It's just weird to sit.
That's what Trey, like after this weekend, it's been so busy, but like Trace knows that like I'm exhausted, right? Yeah. I'm tired, but tomorrow, luckily I have a guest coming in, but normally it'd be like by noon tomorrow, I'll just be sitting there and she'll be like, what, are you bored? Like, you went from being exhausted to in a half day you're bored. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm
that's
bored.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's like, that's exactly what it is. So it's like you get used to like running at this just, level and full bore, ragged edge. And that's where, it's hard, but man, feels good too. Mm-hmm.
But it's like I don't know, maybe not adrenaline all the time, but it's like purpose. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like next thing. And not like, so goal, because somebody said, you're so goal orientated. I'm like, it's not necessarily a goal. No. It's like the end, the purpose above it all, like why you're doing what you're doing, why you want to go, like what drives you.
And I said this in my talk yesterday, that a lot of people go through their life and they don't really know what their purpose is. They're looking for it. They're like, how'd you know that bow hunting was this thing you want? And so a lot of people don't really know what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So people might say, they might write it off as like, oh, you're too goal oriented. Yeah. But no, it's like you're very clear on your purpose here, and that your cooking can create these relationships and allows people to listen to you, and you can, you know, it's the fellowship piece, but it's very clear that you love what you're doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what any person who's been on this podcast, and I've had from gold medalists to who know, you know, tons of different people, but they all are very clear on why they're here.
Yeah.
And you guys are too.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, that's what a lot of people miss that. And I think that we're pretty lucky that we know what our purpose is.
Yeah.
When I cook, I mean, I love it. I still love it. Julie loves the cleanup, so I'm blessed. I love that. I'm over the cleanup. But when I cook, it's like, oh, you could just do this, or, you know, this is easier, or don't, like he says sometimes, don't push the button too far, because, you know, I don't cook beef a lot. We don't. It's 99, like I said, mostly wild game. But I can cook brisket, and I can do tomahawks. I mean, meat is meat.
Oh, the brisket yesterday, the guys from Texas are like, that might be better than Texas pros that
I
cook
thought so.
brisket. Like,
God, it was
the
good.
smoke ring on it was so big. I mean,
But it's for a purpose. It's not just to say, well, here, I just went to the, you know, whatever, and I'm not knocking any local stores or other caterers. That's not my point or my deal. It's just like, you could go somewhere else, and sure, it'll nourish their bodies. Yeah,
it's not the same.
But does where it's coming from have a purpose for them?
Right.
A sandwich or a salad or whatever it is. It's like, they'll get some meaning out of it, but it's like pulling it out of a wrapper in a box. You can do that anywhere.
Yeah.
But if I'm around, and not to sound like a smartass, but if I'm around, you're not just going to eat a burger from this corner store or something like that. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well.
And if we cook, and like Julie's the same way, if we're going to cook, it's got to taste good. Because if we don't like it, I'm not going to serve it to you.
Oh, I've never had a bad meal. Not even that. That's like sounding disrespectful. I've never had anything but an amazing meal.
That's kind.
let alone from. I'm not even talking bad, but it's not even average. It's just like every time I'm eating something, I'm like, God dang,
these guys this weekend looked at me and they ate some of Jenn's food, and they're like, I can't believe you don't weigh 400 pounds, dude.
I know.
And it's because we don't, I mean, unless we have clients, we're not going crazy.
Yeah, that's
when we have somebody to cook for, then it's all out. You want to cook, you want to bless them, you want to take care of them. That's the nature, right?
Yeah.
When
after
it's just
the bear
us.
hunters leave on Saturday, I'm eating leftovers Saturday.
Right.
So I love
I
leftovers.
understand that.
It's like, what are we going to have for supper? And I'm like, I'm not cooking. Julie's like, I'm not freaking cooking. We look at each other. I'm like, peanut butter toast?
Yeah.
Peanut butter toast.
Yeah. No, I get that too. Well, I don't know. I thank you guys for, I wanted to sit down and talk to you guys about your operation, about just our relationship, and just what bear hunting and what it means to be, do what we do. And
it's crazy. We've known you for 10 years.
No,
Time has flown by.
It's been great, but it's like your friendship and what you guys mean to me is I can't put it into words, but I love you guys. Thank you for sitting down and talking. Thank you for all you did this weekend. I'm indebted. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
We love it. You're not indebted. That's what family does. You want to make it better. You want to spend time together. And I mean, when you asked if we wanted to come, we're like, hell yeah. What do you do? It doesn't matter what we're doing that week. Yeah, we're coming.
Oh,
because we haven't been able to be down here for years too. So it was like, oh yeah, we're gonna go. And Joey's like, well, maybe I'll stay home. I'm like, no, you're coming. You're coming. I need you. Cam said you have to come and help.
It couldn't have went any better. I mean, it couldn't have.
I mean, everybody with all of the food, with everything, like you were saying a while ago with the event. All positive, like guys blown away. And I mean, that workout, they got their asses beat. Like that was intense.
Yeah.
I mean, nice to have Wayne's farm to do it at, though.
It is.
Nice place.
What a setup.
So set up perfectly. And I feel like, and Wayne also works his ass off.
Yes.
And he loved it.
Yeah, he loved it.
He loved it.
He ran the 10K today too.
Yeah, he did. I know.
It was cool to see. So kind of a bigger version of it, but like say a bear camp, when you have, multiple guys coming in from different areas of life, never met Joe to Adam. They've never met each other. And then by, day 2, they're chit-chat, or day 1, day 2, and then by day 3, it's like they've all got each other's information. They're talking about stuff. They're making hunts, planning to make hunts together. I seen that, like in the room, people at first were some are a little bit more shy, you know, sitting back a little bit at the tables while they're eating. And like just even the second meal, it was like you could see all people mingling and talking to each other, getting each other's numbers. Yeah. Like it's like this, it's that unit, that family. Yeah. And I really think hunting, if people look at it the right way, it's a family. Yeah. Because you can go anywhere in the world and you talk hunting to a hunting environment of people, and it's like right away there's a connection. Yeah,
and I was thinking about, as you were saying that, I was thinking how much different that is, because guys do the same thing like in a bar. Right? Yeah. They might sit there and chit chat. Nobody's exchanging numbers. No. Yeah. Because it's not built on something meaningful. Yeah. It's built on drinking alcohol, watching whatever. Yeah. But it's not meaningful. Yeah. What we're doing in your camp, in your house, at bear hunting, it's meaningful, and that's where those connections are made, and you know, it's a bond then.
A group of 4 individual hunters this spring that came from all different states, and they hunted together and they became close friends now. They're talking to each other daily. Like
they're booking, all of them are coming the same week next year because they want to hunt together and talking about doing different hunts. And
remember on one of Joe's hunts with us when it was all single people from different places, 8 of us or something. Mm-hmm. And Joe was like, so are you guys here together? Like, are you guys friends from, because he thought they must have known each other before because they're all so friendly to each other. And he thought there was a bunch of buddies that came hunting together. No, they were all individual hunters that just met there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but it's built on something like
that camaraderie. It's cool. It's a very unique environment. We're blessed to have it.
Nothing like hunting camp.
Yeah. And to have people like you coming in, it's really sweet. I mean, we look forward to it. In the years during COVID when we couldn't have anybody, and we're like, it was like sitting there not feeling empty, but I was like,
I was missing something.
I need to go. And John's like, we can't go. And I'm like, no, we need to go. So when it was time to come down into the States, like in January, when we usually do, I was like, we got to go to the States. We got to see some people. We got to do some stuff. Cause I live in a bubble. Yeah. That's my saying out there. It is. It's a beautiful bubble. I absolutely love it. But that's for a season.
Yeah, I understand.
And then when that season is done, it's like, okay, you enjoy a little bit of time, family, whatever. And then it's like, okay, on to the next season. It's like, let's go to the States. Let's do some events. Let's feed some people. Let's take care of...
birthday in February is always during Winter Strong. Yeah. So at Bert Soren's farm, we have a big event there. And
this year was pretty cool.
Birthday party for Jenn there with about 300 people. It's pretty cool.
And February is a good time to be out of northern Alberta.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In the -40s.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. I mean, this has been a great discussion. I'm, very grateful for everything that you guys have enhanced my life with, from friendship to everything else. Thank you.
Oh man, that should be saying from us to you. I mean, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Well, we're going to keep it going. We're going to keep killing big bear. And
you're going to keep hunting bears till you die.
Making great memories. And hopefully we keep doing events like this and you guys are part of it.
I'm planning on it. I'm already talking. Let's make a vision, right? So you can succeed to it.
I know it. We did it. This one, you never know how it's going to turn out, but this one, man, if we could replicate this, I think we're on to something.
It was pretty good. Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. This was epic. We were so excited to come down and finally see you guys down here.
Yeah. Love you guys. Thanks.
Love you too.
As we all know, I've been putting all my guests through a pretty good cardio session on Mount Pisgah. Go Ruck is a welcome new addition to the podcast and Lift, Run, Shoot series. I love the 80-pound sandbags, but I'm not sure how my guests feel about it. But what do they say? Pain is weakness leaving the body. All the people at Go Ruck are beasts, and I'm thrilled to partner with them. We use the rucks and sandbags on almost every episode, and now you can take your training to the next level, as they are offering listeners 10% off when you use code CAM, C-A-M, at goruck.com. See you guys on the mountain. You better not forget that weight.
Every step I take, I move my truth. Every time they tell me stop, I use. Every comment, hate that makes my fuel. Gather up my energy and boom. I hear them talking, saying the way that I move is so reckless. That is a part of my mind I've been blessed with. Giving my blood, so I am relentless. My fault, they want someone to blame. They send their hate, it fuels my pace. I am Roy Tough, I am the change, the fuel in dirt. Feeling like Cam Hanes.